Alright, guys, welcome to episode 209 of 4PlayerAnimecast. I am your host, Spire. It is mid November, starting up here, but honestly, it doesn't really feel like mid November for most of us here, at least on the United States. I don't know how it is up in Canada, but it is.
It's pretty
What is
chilly.
this right now? Yeah, right now I am literally like sweltering. I think it's like 70 plus degrees right now, or like at least 68, 69 degrees plus, like 25 degrees Celsius plus or something like that. It's actually silly. Um, so yeah, I am sweltering in the middle of November for some reason, but I am your host Spire, and here with me are my compatriots Near,
Hello.
Dark,
Hi.
and Toast, who managed to make it in time
What? What
to
do you
be
mean
with
in
us
time?
today. I
Bro,
thought
you
you were
were
out
you
or
were
something.
radio silent all day.
Yeah,
Good.
Let something happen
that's
to you.
But yeah,
Good.
glad to
He's
see.
also a mule.
glad, yeah, exactly. Glad to see that you could make it. But again, we are all here today, and we are pretty much in the thick of it. We're gonna do this episode, and then we're gonna do, I believe, one more episode in at the end of November. But that'll pretty much be actually the end of our fall review series because we do have a couple of episodes that we want to churn out for both the winter 2023 preview show for next year, obviously, as well as our infamous end of the year award show. So that'll take up 2 slots, and then we'll get straight on to our winter reviews, and that'll be happening on, I believe, the 7th of January, which will align just in time for a decent amount of our episode ones to have come out. We might adjust schedule a little bit here and there for that, but it should line up pretty decently. So yeah, again, we are all gathered here, and let's just start off with our past 2 weeks. How have your past 2 weeks been, Near?
Um, they're alright. Playing a lot of Apex.
Apex.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, not too much. Dabbling a little bit more in
Mhm.
Shadowverse as usual. Still kind of fucked up. Uh, like ladder just really keeps changing. I rolled a bunch in FGO for Van Gogh, and I didn't get her, so that was cool. Yeah, other than that, not too much. Pretty chill.
Okay,
So
pretty good. All right, then what about you, Dark?
Um, been doing a lot of Genshin.
Oh,
Gearing up
Genshin.
now for fucking Scaramucci coming out. However you say that.
Mhm.
Scaramouche?
Yeah, Scaramouche. He's coming out in a month or so. So I've been prepping that.
You singing the song?
No, but fucking the leak site was just they title it for every single chapter except for this one, which is now called Bohemian Rhapsody. So,
Nice.
but yeah, he looks really sick. He's looking pretty cute. So
Nice
gonna be
shorts.
rolling for him. Yeah, someone also really loves stirrup legwear at uh fucking Hoyoverse, but I ain't gonna complain. So yeah, other than that, trying to think, beat Gotham Knights with Nier. That was pretty fun.
You like the ending?
not really.
It's no, not really. It's really abrupt. Like,
Don't
I feel
worry,
like they just
that's
straight
room
up
for
ran out of
DLC.
time.
That's room for
I mean,
DLC.
not even
You're
just the
good.
end to ending. I think the lead up to the end was just like so fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, game itself was very fun. It was enjoyable overall. Been playing that, been playing Call of Duty. Other than that, just kind of like
Yeah,
waiting on
okay.
shit, waiting on. Oh no, also been doing a lot of Apex as well. The new character in Apex is very good. He's kind
Mhm.
of insane and also better, just kind of better than Bangalore. So hope they do something about that, considering Bangalore's out here just flat out blinding her teammates and doing nothing else. So
Okay.
maybe one day she'll get buffed. But other than that,
Right.
really been doing a whole lot other than binging Hassan and following the election,
Wow.
Ah, yes.
the midterms.
Midterm elections.
Well, that's a hot take.
Yeah,
Get
it's a
it?
hot
Right.
take.
Get it?
Yeah.
Hassan's a political
Radicalized.
streamer.
watch-
Oh, also went
Hot take.
through.
Hot take is paying attention to politics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
also went through Kamen
Nerd.
Rider Black Sun, all of it.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of politics,
Yeah, that show's kind of based, to be honest. So
near. Spoiler: the show's super politically charged. Get
It's
it?
fine.
it's a hot
Because it
potato.
was politically charged in 1970s, and now politically
Yeah.
charged 2020s. Get it? You also like the dual instances of casual racism in that show? Sure is fun.
listen, it
At
was
least-
endearing.
Alright.
At least the belt is cool though, and he finally did the thing in the last episode. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you think
Yeah,
they
right.
should have
That
swapped it
series is good.
around though? I think they should have swapped around what they did. Like
Yeah.
the finish combo, they should have swapped it around definitely because
Yeah.
one looked better than the other.
All right. On that note, Toast, what have you been
I
up to these past
love
few
Kamen Rider
weeks?
Black Sun. Get it? It's called Black Sun because ha ha ha. It's an allegory. Get it?
I don't know. Yeah.
Because there's
Yeah,
a
An
there's
allegory
a
to what?
there's a there's a black dude in that series. Get it?
There's two.
I don't
actually.
think that's not how
Well,
an
yeah, now
allegory
there's
works.
two.
I'm
Get
not
it?
entirely
And
sure.
you like the ending of that one character when they ran away in the alley and he said certain lines.
Yeah, that was kind of sick. I like
I-
that actually. That was
I'm
dope.
pretty sure that was added in post because there's no way he said
Oh, it
that
absolutely
already.
was. That was dubbed. That
And
was
it was pretty funny.
really dubbed
like-
over. But that scene rocks. Like,
It's just it's funny
yeah,
in an
all my
ironic
homies
kind of way.
fucking hate Shinzo Abe, buddy. That's all I'll say.
All right.
No, but
pretty good
no,
then.
but in real, it's a cool series. Belt super cool. Henshin super cool. I do have a one qualm about one of the characters who has a belt. It's like you have a belt and you didn't do the. You saw that part, right, Dark?
Yeah.
That one character got a belt and it was like, where's your cool henshin after that? Nope, not yet.
Yeah. Yeah,
Not
season
yet.
2.
I guess. The ending? Oh, hell yeah. Can't wait for season 2. That's definitely setting up for it. But yeah,
I mean, there
there's-
might be a movie. There might be.
I mean, other than I think the show was way too short, 10 episodes, and some things could have been better explained. Especially about the King Stones. It's like,
I mean,
you know,
that
in
turned
the
out to be like pretty self-explanatory. Like,
I mean, like in the original Kingstones were the source of the power of their belt. But it's like this series, they didn't use it at all. Like ever, they barely had the Kings. Black Sun and Shadow Moon barely had their Kingstones, and they were still like at the same power level. Like, what's up with that?
that's fair.
They only used. I mean, he even when he did his cool super finisher, he didn't even have the Kingstone. They threw them away at the beginning of the fight. So it's like, you got to give me something here. That's the point of the Kingstones now? They're just the real Deus Ex Machina now. They're not really part of a. They weren't using them the entire time. And then it explains that one character is like, oh, this character is also connected to the Kingstones. How? Is it because they've been attached to them their entire life? I guess. That's the only reason why that other character got a belt too. You know,
Well, yeah. I mean, that was weird. To be
some
fair.
major story qualms, but definitely way better than Amazon's in every way possible. Get it?
Yeah.
Because there was no casual racism in Amazon's. Ha ha ha. They were all
So
Japanese.
therefore, it's worse.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I would have called it casual racism.
Yeah, I
It
know.
really wasn't like.
It's not casual. It's actual racism because there's two, like, the actual racism in the shows between Japanese and Kaijin, or I guess humanity and Kaijin. Because even though they mentioned that there's Kaijin all over the world, it's like they don't never show it. It's always in Japan. But yeah, good show.
Alright, anything else?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
what else did I watch? I don't fucking know. I watched One Piece Film Red twice.
Ah, yes,
One
the
in
One
one
Piece
in
film.
one in Chinese and one in Japanese. I mean, one in English and one
Did
in
they
Japanese.
find the One Piece
Mhm.
yet?
No, I mean, I have a lot to say about One Piece Film Red.
Mm.
Specifically
Well,
about Uta. Uta's probably the most important character they've ever built up so far in these movies. Like, you could argue she's just as important, if not more important, than Shanks is to Luffy's backstory, because they made Uta canon. The events of what happens in the movie aren't canon, but Uta herself is canon, and she even appears as a mysterious shadow in one of the chapters. It's like, oh, well, that's cool. Because I mean, I might as well say it. Spoiler. Well, not really a spoiler. Who cares? Spoiler alert. Uta was the musician of the red-haired pirates, aka Shanks' crew, and she's also Shanks' daughter. That's not really a spoiler because it says everywhere. And the whole reason why Luffy was so interested in a musician for their crew is because of Uta, and whatnot. And some stuff happened. I guess she left to become a singer. That's why she left the pirate crew. And then the movie's not the movie stuff is non-canon. So, well, it's canon up to a point. I guess she's on Elegia, which is this music-focused island, and she holds her live concerts there. Well, not live concerts, her video concerts there, because get spoiled. Well, because the
This is
whole,
why.
whole
This is
island,
literally why I will never watch One Piece. Like,
the whole island
this
is
is exactly
deserted
why.
except for her and some old dude. So she has video concerts all over the world. That's why she's the world's best singer and whatnot. And yeah, depends to the movie happen. But all in all, it's a good movie. Question mark? I think it's the
wait,
best One
why?
Piece.
Wait,
But
why is there the question mark?
because I think it's
Is
the best One Piece movie ever made, and for obvious reasons that are super
okay.
biased. Because I mean, I went to watch the movie because this is the closest you'll get to an Auto concert, and I watched it in IMAX, so I got the super booming audio all around, and it was really good. Then I watched
Okay.
it in non IMAX and with English dubs, and it sucked. Sucked.
Also not
All
true.
right.
Auto
Well,
announced at
that's fair.
some. Pretty sure Auto announced at some point that
She's
something in the
but
U.S.
really, but
Well,
she's
I think she
she's
wants to do something, but I mean, obviously at this point, I think the ball is rolling hard enough. The snowball is, I think, in motion right now, where she's going to be able to do an international tour sooner or later, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just
she's
because
signed
she's
up
so
with
good.
Geffen Records if that's what you're thinking of. So she could probably get her stuff stateside. That's cool.
Zlate said, "Were Uta's songs still in Japanese when you watched it in dub?" Yes,
Yes,
they
thank
are,
God.
and that
Yes,
was
they did
part
not.
of
They don't dub
that.
Uda's songs because it's
That
like.
was actually part of the uproar on Twitter, because, or I guess murmurings, not uproar. I don't
The
want to be like
uproar on the
those.
with a super hot spicy take,
Yeah,
where they
it
were like,
wasn't much of an
"Oh,
uproar. It was like some people were like, "Oh, it's unfortunate that there wasn't an English version of the song or
yeah,
whatever it was."
I'm
And
gonna hard disagree
Yeah,
with
and
that
then
on
you
every
heard,
turn."
and then we heard the English Amelie's cover, and it flipped me.
bro,
Boy, which yeah, I need to run back. That's the other thing for my two
are you
eights. I
gonna
need to
call?
run back my
Are you
statement
gonna
last
call?
week.
Like,
Yeah,
are you gonna do a
I'll do
call out?
that
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. All right. We'll save this. But yeah.
But yeah,
Anyways, thank you to
what else?
yeah.
No, I still gotta talk. I still gotta talk about it. I'm not
Yeah.
done yet. But yeah, the whole reason why Amelie. I mean, I have no problems with her as the voice actor of Uta, but people who think that Ado would get like taken over by Amelie for the English release version of this don't understand how important Ado is. Also, how much
Mhm.
money they spent to get Ado. and all you got to deal with the copyrights and all licensing and all that for Ado songs. You can't just I like Amelie, so I'm just gonna put Amelie songs. That's not how it works.
Mhm.
So it's not as simple as that. Also, yeah, like Dark said, we heard it. And when she tried to match the song, let's say New Genesis, I have quite a bit of problem with that song.
Mm.
But yeah, I'll close it. I'll wrap it up. One Piece film read very good. Definitely watch it if you want to watch an auto concert, but not really an auto concert, but it actually is. As a One Piece movie, I don't like what they like. The movie itself is kind of not good, but Uta herself is a fantastic character though to the One Piece lore. I really want them to explore more with this character because she's now that she's introduced as part of Luffy's backstory, she's arguably as important as Ace or Sabo are to Luffy. So you know, I want more. I want more stuff. What they I want more. Yeah, I want them to do more stuff with her. Also, here's a hot take. Uta is now the strongest character in One Piece because, spoiler, but not really. Luffy can't beat her at all. Because in the movie, he didn't fight her even once for good reason. Because she's what? She's basically his nakama. Get it? Get it? In the One Piece
Uh,
universe, the way we use nakama is more important than any other, and more important than any other way they use the term. Because
you're talking about it's like family, right? It's like...
no, it's a word more important than that, Spire. There is no equivalent term in the English language, so you know that's the only way they can interpret it. Because you know that's the whole meme, right? With One Piece, there is no word more important than nakama in One Piece. It's not. It's stronger than crewmate or comrade. It's nakama. But yeah, definitely
Okay.
check it out if you can. But I hope you have an iMac setup because those songs are fantastic, but only if you have the right setup for them.
Okay. Pretty good, pretty good. Again, thank you, Toast, for your 2 weeks. Um, I'll just go through quickly. I haven't been up to too much. I've been running around a lot in real life, so I've been a little bit busy there. But uh, I've
How
been
much you been running?
a decent amount, just mainly around airports. I think in the past couple of days. I forgot that LaGuardia. Actually, I forgot that every time I come to LaGuardia Airport. For those of you who don't know, that's the main sort of airport main
Don't
international
dox
airport in New
yourself.
York.
Oh,
But
too late.
I always keep forgetting that LaGuardia actually has what is it? It has like a BuzzFeed store. There's like an actual store like dedicated to like the BuzzFeed brand or some
What?
weird bullshit.
BuzzFeed actually?
Yeah, search BuzzFeed store and it should be like it's apparently it's in LaGuardia Airport. I was like, um, I keep forgetting that every time I pass through it. I'm just like, what? Like, why is this a thing? Like maybe in California I would understand, but still. But yeah.
Was BuzzFeed the one that sold the stupid electric stove?
I am not sure.
Because I know there was that whole thing where they used that one stupid induction stove every time for BuzzFeed. Did you see it there?
Uh,
This thing.
no, I haven't.
I'll here this stupid thing. This thing. Here you go. Because that's not it.
That's the same picture.
There you go.
That's-
This one. This stupid thing. Because that's
Oh,
that's
I feel like
always
I've
What?
seen this before.
that's
I
always
feel,
used in their tasty videos. It's
What
like,
is
oh, you
that?
gotta prove out it's their
I feel like
tasty
I've seen that
induction
before.
stove.
Yeah. Let me link it in chat. I think I've seen this before actually. It's like really weird. But anyways, I haven't been up to too
Yeah.
much, running around a little bit, watching some anime. Uh on that pretty
Should have
quiet,
bought
I
Inspire.
think. There's also so the thing is like these days I don't download as many like eroge, but I do like watch what new things get released. And recently a lot of like a
Hello.
lot more like B tier, C tier like visual novels that are or like eroge that are just like really just shitty. You know, like those like 30-minute like random, sexual themed visual novel just get released. And it's like I'm like like there's one where
They're just following the Steam meta, bro.
yeah, freaking Steam visual novel. I hate that
You
shit so
can't like
much. God damn.
sometimes you can't get on there if you're a you're a VN with like couple adult themes in it, but if you want to release, I don't know, a game like Only Fap Simulator 4, apparently there's 4 of them now.
The
Like
hell
you can
is
just get
this?
front page.
I like
Why
how
not?
it's like if you literally make like the shittiest 3D CG like porn game that's like Sex Vampires 2 or something like that, then you get like front page and as a visual novel. But like if if you use like Little Busters or Clannad, you get banned and you're like, oh, okay, I guess this is this is how it is, I guess.
Which
So
ones are you looking
stupid.
at? Which ones are you looking at, Spire? Because I got two. I got three names that I want to say that have you seen them on Steam?
So the thing I don't really like refresh on like subreddit. The site that I use to like just like see like what's being released is a very old site. It's been there since like I want to say probably 12 years plus, 12 years plus. But it is erogedownload.com, and I just like refresh there like every once in a while just to see like, oh, like these new games have released. Okay, stuff like that. But most, if you like scroll down this site, it's like for the first like page right now, it's just like, oh, there's like literally
Let me
nothing.
see.
I think the only one that I would want to play is near the bottom. It's Renai Royale Love's Battle. This is I believe Asa Project's very latest visual novel. But even that one isn't, Asa Project, I think, Put On My Wars and Renai Sankaku were their best works. But I think afterwards they fell a little bit. So I haven't been really impressed with their later works. But all this other garbage on the front page is like very, it's a little bit depressing to say the least.
What about
So yeah.
I've seen this one pop up on my feed. Spire. What about Lilith Fetish? ABDL. You should
I
It's a.
I have a feeling like I know what the
I
premise
don't
of
know
that
what
would
I
be.
don't know
Yeah.
what ABDL means. I just saw the title. I'm like, damn, what is this?
What's
But yeah,
ABDL?
I don't know.
BNDB.
I think it's. I don't know what this means.
What the
Oh, excuse me. Okay, I googled it. Adult baby / diaper levels.
what
Diaper
the
lovers.
fuck am I
Excuse me. What is this?
reading?
I don't want to know
God.
anymore.
Toast, what the
Alright.
hell did you link me? I think I have to like erase this from
I
my
didn't link
history.
anything. I just said the title. It's a
What
visual
is
novel game with
happening
adult
right
ABDL,
now?
diaper wet, and few messy age play. Oh, no thanks. No
Toast,
thanks.
anyways, my
And
first
then
call of the day goes out to Toast. but
yeah, I
but
checked JST USA just for Kickspire. And how do you feel about Gore Screaming Show? That's number 2 on Hot this week. I like
the
the title.
absolute state of localization in the West. But yeah, anyways, pretty quiet, other than for real life. So it is what it is. But yeah, that's pretty much been my 2 weeks, or been our 2 weeks rather. And with that, we'll move on real quick to our first uh, review here, and we are going to start off with Dark. What do you have for us?
I have sure. There we go. I have Akuyaku Reijou, Nanode last boss wo Katte Mimashita. Pronunciation
Yeah,
is
cutting
awful, but
yeah.
I'm the villainess, so I'm taming the final boss. Not to be confused with the my life as a villainous, all roads lead to doom or whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of Ultimate game. There's a lot of Akuyaku Reijou series out there. This is just like one of like 50. So forgive Dark for if he mixes up any of the titles in the future because there's a
Yeah.
lot of them.
Also, this isn't last Yase no last boss ga Arawareta, because that's a different one. Oh, don't get your last bosses confused.
Yeah, there's a bunch of last boss series as well, which is actually pretty funny. But yeah, this is a series by Maho Film, as I see it. And you guys see? I think I was talking with Dark before this, but you saw the staff role for this series, right? There's like there's the director there because they're usually in like a staff role with on an Anime News Network, right? Where they note who's working on who's the director, who's like the writer and stuff like that, right? They have like director, they have script person, they have series composition, they have like director of photography, prop design, animation director, color like down the line, right? So this so for the Japanese staff it has director, series composition, and then it has 5 people on music, 3 people on character design. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all of it for the staff. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know whether there's some TQ shit going on, but anyways, so yeah, that's pretty much how it is for the staff. But you wanna elaborate a little bit more on the meat of the series here, Dark?
Yeah. So, this series is about someone who, yeah, it's an isekai. So they're like they played this game on like their deathbed or something, on their Nintendo Switch. But it is about they get reincarnated like midlife essentially into the character, very similar to Villainess as well. Well, actually, no, not similar to Villainous. Villainous, but yeah. So this person gets reincarnated into the main character of an Otome game. Well, not the main character, the Villainess of an Otome game, named Eileen Lauren Doubtriche. I didn't even really pay attention to how the name is pronounced. Other than Eileen, because everyone
Eileen
uses
Lauren
her first
Dotrich.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dotrich, I think is
Okay.
yeah. Don't worry, the
Yeah.
Japanese name is not the way the Japanese people pronounce this name isn't gonna be great either. So
So her reincarnation like thing sort of takes place in the middle of the Villainess being rejected by the like main hero, like, and what is his name? Is he a count? I can't remember if he's like a duke or something.
It's
But he's like
always
the
a
heir to
duke.
a throne. And yeah, oh, the crown. Yeah, that's right. It's the crown prince, Cedric Jean Elmire. So he breaks off with her to go with the main heroine of the game. His name escapes me, and you literally have to go all the way down through more characters to even see her. So yeah, oh yeah, Lilia Rainworth.
Who cares?
And when this happens, she realizes, that she's been reincarnated in this game, and that if she keeps things ongoing, she's going to get killed by the demon lord in any route towards the end. So instead, she basically takes up, what is it? Essentially, it goes off in pride after being rejected, having her engagement broken off, and immediately heads towards the villain's castle to try to prevent him from turning into like his true demon form, which then leads into the end where she dies.
okay.
And so the opening is pretty well, not slapstick, but it's pretty comedy heavy. Like after that, where she like gets through the demon lord's barrier. She's going there, like a couple of demon animals, like this crow, voiced by Tomokazu Sugita, tries to
course.
stop her.
Good stuff.
And she brushes past him. And then, what is it? She shows up to the Demon Lord, and he's like, "What do you want?" And then she immediately goes, "Why don't you marry me?" And obviously everyone's taken aback, and he sends her on her way, which leads to a couple of scenarios of her trying to win him over. Eventually, pretty early on in the series, I'm 6 episodes in, she wins him over. Spoiler alert. But what I was surprised by is that the series doesn't really stop there, and then sort of turns into like a pseudo revenge series. Because it kind of like flips the script on its head, where since the villainess is acting not as the villainess anymore, the game itself becomes twisted, and the hero, like the main heroine, and the main guy. Yeah, I should probably also say the Demon Lord is his brother. Is the main guy's brother, the Crown Prince's brother.
Okay.
But he was like, I have demon
I think the
blood, so
network
he
of
got like
connections.
rejected.
Right. I think the network of connections is probably not as important as like what the major structure of the story is.
In
right?
some sense, it kind of is, just because it's like, through that, like, since characters start like role reversing almost,
Okay.
since the main villainess isn't doing the actions of the villainess, like it seems to be almost like not really like a faded type deal, but more so of like there are certain beats that will happen, but it can happen from someone else. So, for example, the main heroine winds up getting threatening letters in the game by the villainess, trying to like break off her engagement with the Crown Prince. But since the villainess isn't doing that, because she doesn't care anymore, the main heroine is like writing them to herself to like use as an excuse to like get away from an event to see the Demon Lord.
Oh, okay.
And then there's a whole big thing of, then the Crown Prince basically turns like fucking absolutely psychotic. And long story short, winds up like essentially trying to assault and or rape the main heroine, which, the Demon Lord comes in time and beats the shit out of him, but then freaks out and almost turns, which causes the main heroine, the villainess, to then also like defend him to stop like his transformation from happening, because he's gonna die, or it's gonna kill her rather. And then she essentially like absorbs this like holy blade from the main heroine. So the main heroine now also doesn't have power. Yeah, it's like a lot of shit happens.
Oh, okay.
But it's like basically like a full role reversal. Like the Crown Prince gets fucked. The Demon Lord becomes like the new Crown Prince, and she becomes like his fiance.
What happens to the main heroine?
So far, they just get shit on. Like he's
Of
the
course.
second in line now, and
What
she's
is-
just like an asshole.
What did you expect from these villainous series, Spire? If they don't make friends with the villainous, then they're like, whatever. We'll just ship you
No,
off to
she
a
didn't make
monastery or
friends. Like
something.
they're dickheads. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
they're-
it's there's only two options. You either get shit on or you become friends. They're no longer the real main heroine.
yeah. So I don't know if they're gonna come back, since obviously I'm not fully caught up. I'm only on episode 6. But I thought it was really interesting that they like kind of blew right into that. And now there's like some other scenarios that are still like, events from the game, and the games are occurring, but like kind of like mixed up. So there is like some mystery to it, essentially, for even the villainous, of trying to figure out like what, like, I know this event happens, but like who's behind it at this point.
Did you bring up the voice actors?
So yeah, the voice actors are kind of like, first of all, like the series is like okay, but again, like I think what is it? Is it Death Flag, or like All Roads Lead to Death, or whatever? However you would say that other series.
Yeah.
Personally, I prefer that one overall. Just in general, I think story-wise, it's been more fun. I think character-wise, it's been really fun. But what this series does have is that the main villain, the main character in Villainess, is voiced by Takahashi Rie, which is really strong. And then the Demon Lord is voiced by Umeharu Yuichiro. So
Yes.
kind
Who's
of
most recently
killer.
famous for Goblin Slayer, I believe. So Goblins, yeah, the titular role in Goblin Slayer. So yeah.
Did you
But
mention?
yeah,
Here's a fun fact for trivia. Did you watch the series in English?
Oh,
Why not?
no.
Don't you know the main character is voiced by Alexis Tipton?
I don't know who that is,
Do
bro.
do you not know? Okay. She
No,
voiced
I know of her, but I keep forgetting the actual roles she's voiced.
she
Oh
voiced
right, okay,
she
okay.
voices Trunks. Ha 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 ha.
Oh,
Dragon Ball
wow.
Super. Also, more importantly,
She
she voices Kurumi in Data Live.
she voices a lot of characters. I mean, this sort of stuff happens quite often just because the uh, sort of talent pool for English voice actors and actresses in the anime industry is like much smaller compared to stuff. But she's done a lot of shit. Like if you just go down, even just like a little bit,
She's
you already
pretty.
have Mocha for Rosario Vampire, Lala to Love Ru. You have what is it? Let's see this. She did you or Euclid for Corazon, I believe. She did Mizuki for Bakuto Test, like just just down the list here. But yeah. Um anything else, Dark? For anything on like audio visuals or anything like that?
Yeah, so the audio visuals are pretty like solid. They're not like bad. They're not like stellar. But good. Which is kind of strange. I guess this is like kind of a pretty cool showing because, granted, I haven't watched a lot from this studio, but I did watch. What is it? If it's for my daughter, like I.
Oh,
Lord
yes, yes.
Uchino
and
Uchi
Mug
Musume
Musume.
Cup.
something?
Uchi
Yeah,
Musume. Yes, yes. Oh, Mug. Yes, 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 yes. I remember that. Okay.
and Mug Cup. So like, granted, Mug Cup was like starting to get a little bit more, I would say, into like a
Mhm.
solid showing of audio visuals. I don't know about like Leedale.
You
I don't know how
Toast,
that
you watched
was.
Leodale, right? It was okay, right? I think.
I like Laydale quite a lot. Why?
Yeah, its audio visuals were good. Okay, because I was gonna say like
It was fine.
because in general it's cool to see because like it's a shame because like I liked what's this abbreviated to? Is it Uchi Musume? Yeah, I liked Uchi Musume. But its audio visuals were really whack. Like at a lot of times, like
That's
it
fair.
got
Yeah, it wasn't that good.
real fucking whack. So it's really cool to see them have like something what I would say is like really polished. I would have to look at Leodale, but as far as like that Uchi Musume goes, Mug Cup goes, and then this, like this is definitely them showing like the most growth possible. In this like time period, I would say. So to go to something that looks like really really clean is quite nice.
Okay.
It's not as much of a shojo as you would think, really. Like they have characters that have like shojo, you know, vibes, shojo like aspects to them, but it's not like as heavy as even like All Roads Lead to Doom, like Death Flag has.
Right, right.
Just because there's also like obviously it's like there's a core love interest and then everyone else is like pure supporting. Like there is really no give and take like at all with any of the characters.
It kind of feels less like how do I say this? Is the author of this, is this a female writer or is like a male writer here? I
I
feel
think
like
it's a
kind of like a
female
you.
writer.
Okay. Um the reason why I say this because it's like the series, from what you're telling me, seems to be a little bit more focused on pushing the isekai side developments, right? And what I mean by that in specific is it has this world and it's trying to develop what's happening in the story, and the story sure is based on a core a subplot of romance, right? The sub theme, I guess not even the sub theme, but it's like the core idea of it is some sort of romantic relationship, and then the story develops around it. But the story seems to be more focused on quickly panning out how that sort of quote unquote romance affects the world, right? And how the world resolves its problems, than focusing on the romantic slash rom-com the rom-com side of the romance, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like
No, yeah,
the
definitely.
idea is obviously
It's
based on like romance, but it's like it's more about like how the world
yeah,
is like set up
it's like
around
it
that.
pushes. It definitely. I wouldn't say like, because it does. It does definitely have like a lot of like romance aspects to it, especially the
Mhm.
back and forth between, the Demon Lord and the Eileen. So there's definitely a lot of like back and forth with them, but it does way more core focus on them, and like kind of cuts where you would normally have like sort of like fight for her affection type deal. That pretty much gets entirely axed, so you have a lot more like plot progression. um you have a lot more like sort of like mystery aspects or something like that, or just like side character interactions, or just like general like plot development. And yeah, like you said, like the relationship impacting the world, and then sort of turning that into a mystery based on the game events. Which I think
Yeah.
is pretty good. It is definitely a nice route to take, over just being a standard standard like JoJo type story, because then that would wind up getting way too close to like Death Flag. But yeah, I think this has done a decent job like differentiating itself.
Right. Just focusing a little bit more on the development instead of just being like, oh, I'm just gonna set up this reverse harem and off we go, right? So,
Yeah.
okay. Any last words on the series?
Um, I think it's pretty good. Think you like Death Flag. That would be this is like a good similar series to it, but not, not one to one. So
Okay, pretty good, pretty good. All right. Well, again, thank you, Dark, for helping to cover. What is it? I'm gonna figure this. I am the villainess, so I'm taming the last boss. I believe that is the localized title here, also known as Akuyaku Reijou Nanode, last boss of Katte Mimashita. Um, so this is a light novel original, I believe. It has been adapted by Maho Films, who is known for doing stuff like Uchi Musume, or My Daughter. If it's for my daughter, I'd even defeat the Demon Lord. I believe that's the localized title, as well as stuff like Leodale more recently. So if you do want maybe a little bit more uncommon take on the current otome game Isekai formula, please do check it out. And with that, we are on to our next series. I guess that's me here. And I'm going to cover one that's been sort of, I don't know whether it's been memed on necessarily, but pretty,
No, Spire,
it's
this is
been,
it. There's no meme here. This
there's
is
no meme. Yeah, zero meme. This is the real deal. Yes. It
this
is.
is the next generation Konosuba.
Thank you, Toast. This is Kage no Jitsuryokusha ni Naritakute, also known as the Eminence in Shadow. What a very cool name. Uh, so The Eminence and Shadow, this is done by Nexus Studios, plus like one or two subcontractors. Nexus Studios mainly known for doing mostly photography, helping out with photography stuff, and in between animations, They did head the production for a series called Comic Girls, which was a small series a couple of years back about like a bunch of girls at like a dormitory who like each draw like a different type of manga or whatever it is. So that was a thing. Um, for the most part, I think Nexus kind of pulled in everybody that they knew for from their Comic Girls crew. So the director, the episode director, like some of the I believe the music people and so on. As well as the production advancement and like the animation producer. He worked with Nexus as well previously with Patima Inverted, right? Patima Inverted. But yeah, most of it's the Comic Girls crew plus a couple of veterans chucked in there. Nakanishi Kazuya, who's the director, he did a couple of, he's a veteran for a lot of stuff, episode directing and stuff like that. Did chief animation directing for Darwin's Game, where he like did half the other stuff as well. He helped with like storyboard, prop design, directing, animation director, so on. So yeah, a couple of other people, again, pretty similar stuff. The Comic Girls crew, veteran in relative veteran in Kato Kenichi, but he mainly did work in kids stuff like Prepara and Jewel Pet. He did a little bit of work on Tsukumomo and Takagi-san, and I think a little bit of his sort of like his style that's a little bit more suited to kids stuff shows up in here. Very kind of like direct in a sense. Again, the other stuff is standard, Comic Girls people, a little bit veterans. The two stars in the cast, in my opinion, are actually the music people. It is Suehiro Kenichiro with music, who headed, music stuff. He did Cells at Work, Akaneiro, Nisu Marasaka, Golden Kamui, ReZero, Shadow's House, Luluko, so on, as well as the sound director Aketagawa Jin, who is a very prolific, very famous sound director. He's actually the son of Susumu Aketagawa Susumu, who is a legend himself in the field of anime sound directors. So yeah, I think the music sound direction people are headed in pretty good, or headed by pretty good people, and you can kind of see that panning out in the fact that the OST, excuse me, uh, and the fact that the OST is very quite decent. A lot of people are giving it good reviews, as well as the general voice casting and sound direction in general. So pretty good. The voice acting casting is just A-listers down the line. To be honest, it's like let me read this. God damn, there's like so many people. Hanazawa Kana, Yamashita Seiichiro, who is a veteran, protagonist, kind of isekai protagonist, male voice actor by now. Hikasa Yoko, Sato Asami, I Fairuzai, Shiraishi Haruka, Kanemoto Hisako, Minase Inori, Kondo Reina, Hidaka Reina, Aizawa Saya, Mimori Suzuko, and I believe one of the sidekicks is actually Matsuoka Yoshitsugu. So pretty much A-listers down the line. Nothing to really worry about on that end, I think. But yeah, interesting setup. Again, I think Nexus did struggle a little bit in pulling together people for the project, but they did manage to pull together a complete team, and I think some aspects of it showed up pretty well. The summary of the series is in itself. Let me read this here. Nexus. Okay. Even in his past life, so this is an isekai, obviously. Even in his past life, Sid Kagero's dream wasn't to become a protagonist or a final boss. He'd rather lie low as a minor character until it's prime time to reveal he's a mastermind, or at least do the next best thing, pretend to be one. And now that he's been reborn into another world, he's ready to set the perfect conditions to live out his dreams to the fullest. Armed with his overactive imagination, Sid jokingly recruits members to his organization and makes up a whole backstory about an evil cult that they need to take down. Well, as luck would have it, these imaginary adversaries turn out to be the real deal. Everyone knows the truth but him. Honestly, a lot of this is pretty useless. Like, it's not that interesting. The overall series is just the TLDR is like the guy always wants to be super cool, right? He's like, oh, I'm gonna be like the secret guy who's like trying to the secret protagonist from the shadows or whatever, and he goes around and he uh max on a bunch of girls, quote unquote by accident, right? He's like he personally is like, oh, I just want to be the cool guy, but for some reason I'm saving all of these hot girls, the usual like isekai harem protagonist kind of thing, right? And all these girls gather and they create the secret organization, and the rest of the sort of series is about him and these girls kind of rooting out evil here and there. Evil that is part of like a sort of a, I guess, a bigger like plot, bigger evil organization or whatever. And um, it's a slight mix of like there's like comedy interspersed here and there, but most of the comedy is pretty like cringe as well. It's like, oh, I didn't know that you would accept my invite to go on this date, blah 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 blah. And um the actual story itself is pretty bad as well because it's like, oh, like I'm the hero now. It's like, oh, you guys were the evil, but we were ready for you. We are the secret organization that will take you down. And then the rest of the episode is the evil getting taken down by the girls and obviously the protagonist himself. 99% of this is like very cringe. Like I don't use this word often to describe what goes on in a series because I don't like wielding the word in my reviews because it evokes a certain type of emotion, right? It adheres to a certain type of writing. So I don't like using the word cringe, but this is cringe. This is,
Maybe,
I want to say
Fire,
nearly,
you just don't get the humor.
yeah, I just don't get it, guy. It's so cool. But
Just like
honest, what was that series? Mutanai, right? I think
uh,
it's not
I
my
don't
fault
have
I'm
any
not
friends.
popular.
Or
Yeah,
yeah,
it's not, I don't have any friends or whatever it is. Um in
my
my
favorite
opinion,
arc
it's
in
like
that series is where she didn't take a bath.
yeah.
It's shiny hair. That was great.
I think the level of cringe is around that. Um it's just I don't know. It's everything's around. Like if you can imagine, like how like there are some Chunibyo like meme stereotypes where it's like, oh, I'm gonna be secretly the protagonist, or like, oh, my fist is like burning, or like my fist is howling, or whatever it is. Like the meme Chunibyo stuff that you see in anime, the stereotypes. That is like this series unironically does that sort of stuff. And I don't know, it's just very unimpressive. Um, the material is very standard uh, in both its Chunibyo aspect and how it resolves the series because it's pretty much all just like, oh, there's evil, but I'm strong, so I get to defeat the evil. It's very cut and dry stuff.
But
Very
Fire, don't you
unimpressive.
know this series is a combination of Konosuba and Overlord? Because you know, Ainzo Gon is pretty chuny by himself, right? He also works behind the scenes and wields an organization.
Ah, yes. That's exactly how I
But isn't
see
the MC in this is
animation.
like pretending, right? Like,
Yeah, he's pretending although the actual evil organizations exist.
but like,
Um
so like, what is the purpose of him being like chuny as fuck?
To look cool.
no, that's just his thing. Like he just is Chuny. That's his dream. Like the
But
idea
he,
is like he's
but
wanting to
like,
be a
is
secret
he
protagonist.
actually like? Does he actually like? Is he actually like summoning like fucking ghosts and shit like Ainz, or is he just being
No,
chuny?
no, no. He's super powerful. He's super powerful in
Okay,
the isekai. Like, and he was also pretty powerful in real life. Um, he like did
Don't
martial
you know
arts and
his
stuff like
reason
that in
for
real life.
yeah,
Oh God.
near. Don't you know that if you train your muscles hard enough, you can stop a nuke?
No,
It's MMA.
no.
It's like they set up the character to be like unironically like one of those guys who's like, yeah, I'm learning MMA so I can beat up the bad guys. You know what I mean? It's like that
Yeah,
sort of
so I
thing.
can dodge battle axe in real life.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hell yeah, dude. I believe in that battle X stream. Not one
Again, I
against
think
COVID though, so I'll wait till he gets better.
Slade says, but does the MC of this anime believe in true equality like Kazuma? So there is actually a lot of sort of wanton violence in a sense in this series, and again, I'm not very impressed by it because the way the violence is used is so violence in the series is almost solely utilized to depict the strength of the protagonist and related characters, or like the cruelty of the villain, right? So it's like either it shows like, oh, the villain's being cruel because they slapped this girl, or like um the MC is so strong he can just kill everybody, and that's sort of it, right? And again, like I get it, like I don't it's not that I will completely reject the idea of using violence in the series, using killing in the series, but I get it. I don't need to see this character killing 10 people in a flash with this magic slime sword of destiny thing. Like I don't need to see that every time, right? Um it's not even that I find it unpleasant necessarily. It's just like, yeah, I know what you're doing. Like you don't need to show me this killing scene 50 more times. I get it, bro. Like the main character is powerful. Okay, that's cool. And you know, it's it's just very unimpressive. And the difference I would say, so then you ask like, because I know, some people will ask me like, "Oh, Spire, you liked Overlord though. Like why did you,
That's why
um
do you hate this series?
yeah, why do I hate this series?" Which is a valid question, I think, to ask. Um the difference is a couple of reasons. One, it is
He's not
a
a cool, awesome skeleton, first of all.
yeah, he's not a skeleton first of all. But I think Overlord is a much more uh, straight up exercise in catharsis through the idea of just kind of being selfish and evil. And I think that's a little bit more of an uncommon recipe, although not like unique necessarily, but it's a more uncommon recipe for sure than what Eminence and Shadow brings. The second reason is that I personally don't really enjoy the whole like, oh, I'm just gonna kill everybody kind of thing in Overlord scenes either. Like the scene where, for instance, like Ainz went over to like the ice dragons and just killed them in 1 second, right? I wasn't very impressed by that either. Like I wasn't like, wow, that's like such a cool scene. I love it. I want to see that stuff all the time. I didn't say that either. I think the main value of Overlord is not in that, but rather in um, the way that Ainz manages to get through the management. Uh, this is a bad way to put it. Manages to get through the everyday life of having to rule Nazarick, having to go through the RPG and talk with people while being this overlord, right? And I think that's where the real pleasure, the real taste, great in what Japanese people would call it taikomi, right? The real pleasure, earthly pleasure of reading and going through Overlord comes from. And it's not really, the value really isn't in just like, oh, Skeleton Man killed X thing, Skeleton Man killed Y thing, Man killed Z thing. Yeah, I mean, it's the war against like the slain theocracy, right? It's like that's also as well, but it's just like the general thing of like him just like
But
scenes specifically where he's just killing stuff like by brute force I wasn't like the biggest fan of either, although I understand why it needed to be there at times. But again, I think the biggest value of Overlord is not that, but rather the fact that Irons has to go through and talk with people and find out what the hell is going on. And this series doesn't do any of that. It's just like, oh, I'm powerful. I'm gonna kill stuff, and that's different. Slay said, how many volumes of Overlord light novels there gonna be? 17. I think 17 or 18 might be the final one, which is again disappointing because I think another big part of Overlord that was actually good was, and I've mentioned this before as well. I think one of the other parts of Overlord that's actually good is the fact that Ainz has to come to grips with like the fact that he might be the only actual, player character in the world, and he has to deal with his sort of NPC family, right? I think that was honestly the best part of Overlord. He has to deal with the fact that he has to he has to manage all these NPC children that love him. But I think the author didn't know how to deal with that, and I think that was one of the downfalls, the flaws of Overlord for sure. So,
Let's fire.
but,
Doesn't he end up with
yes.
Albedo? Because right in the beginning, he's like, ho, ho, ho. Ho, ho, ho. Albedo's a yandere, right? But what if? Just saying, what if? For a friend. I made it so she loves me. Haha, just kidding. But what if? Then he does. So it's like,
But Alvida
why?
also isn't even like, I don't know. Alvida's such a forced character, but it's like, again, I think the it doesn't really matter who Ainz goes out with or Max with or whatever it is. The point is like, he has to deal with all of the characters, the NPC that are all his like sort of quote unquote his like guardians, the children, right, or whatever. So that's the problem. But yeah, anyways, the subject is not really about Overlord, but I do believe Kage. What is it? What's the fucking name of this series? Eminence and Shadow. Kage no Jitsuryokusha ni Naritakute is very lacking on multiple fronts. I think is immensely aiming for that sort of like chunibyo cringe, unironically. It's just not providing anything of real value that I would want to read or watch in a story. And yeah, I just, I had to vomit a couple of times to get through the episodes. I managed to get through the episode. I'm not going to, I'm not planning on watching any more of it anytime soon. So that's pretty much been my review. Audio visuals, the visuals are pretty decent. The action scenes are relatively fluid, although it's not, they don't do like a bunch of action. It's like a lot of the action is just like, there's no real like battle scenes. So all the action scenes are limited to either like the main character or whoever like killing everybody like in a single flash, like him just like shooting his like slant sword or whatever the fuck he does and just like decapitating or like destroying, like vaporizing everybody instantly. Or it's a scene where it's like a very short scene where it's like one sword swing or one swing of the crowbar or whatever it is, and it's not really like a full out like battle scene where they're like flying around doing stuff. So it's pretty limited to that, but the audio visuals are pretty decent overall. Um, Audio, I think OST. Uh, I wouldn't say the opening is super good, but I think both the opening and the OST are above average for sure. Again, I think the sound director as well as the music guy uh, sort of outdid themselves compared to the other people on the cast, and it kind of shows. So that's pretty much the main thing I would watch this series for, the OST opening. But other than that, there's not really much to do with it. So so that's my review of The Eminence in Shadow, Kage no Jitsuryokusha ni Naritakute. And
What's your number score?
Big things.
3.5, maybe
Out of
4.
5? That's pretty
No,
high.
out of 10. Out of 10. Hell no. I would
Damn,
never give that an above
so
average
this is
score.
worse than Mouse-sama Retry? Damn. And
Yes.
worse than Isekai Cheats. Was it Isekai Cheat Magician? Ugh.
Isekai Cheat Magician, I forget. But definitely better or definitely worse than Mouse on Retry for sure. But yeah. So yeah, that's my review.
I'll highly disagree, but okay.
But yeah, anyways, that was my review of the Eminence in Shadow. And next is another isekai, and this one I definitely favor a little bit more here. Is Toast? What your series, right? This
Here, did
is,
you
I
have an
believe.
isekai?
No,
Why not?
I
We
don't
were 3 out of
fucking
4.
watch. I don't fucking watch this
You
guy,
were,
bro.
you were so close to a clean sweep, near.
complete isekai. Oh, we should have that sometime. We should force Nier to watch an
Ah.
isekai, and then just so we can have like 4 isekais.
Dude, the only
Yeah,
isekai I've like willingly consumed in
Mushoku
the last
Tensei,
like
right?
in the last like 5-6 years is Mushoku Tensei. Like
Bro, you just need to give in. Just watch all the isekais with us.
no, thank you.
Oh Jesus.
Why,
Anyways,
why is it
this
when I
isekai
stack up
series.
2 paper plates together, the design doesn't match? What's up with this? There's something fucky up with the paper plate factory if the designs don't match. Anyway, where am I? Yeah, what did I watch? I don't know. You like Initial
Uh,
D?
you,
Yeah.
I guess.
What?
Where is this
What do you
going,
mean? What do you
Toast?
mean? I guess. What? It's
I
either yes
haven't
or
read
no.
it, so
Why would you read Initial D? It's 10 times better watching it as an anime.
I guess, but
Your series?
anyways, what is
Yes.
your series, Toast?
I
What is your
watched
series?
Sword Dead. I don't know. I don't remember their real name. Something
It is
Ken
a
Deshita.
reincarnate. Yeah, it is reincarnated as a sword. Tensei Shitara Ken Deshita,
Wait,
and
what
it
was
is
that
a
word?
light novel
That's a
origin.
what?
Reincarnate as a sword.
Okay,
Tensei
just making
Shitara
sure.
Ken Deshita. It is again a light novel original. Done by C2C. C2C, I believe, has done. They've done mainly small stuff like Gogo Goroko, or sorry, Goroko Goshigo, which I believe is like the haiku short or whatever it is. Haiku themed short. One-chan ga kita, and they did also Hitoribochi to Marumaru Seikatsu. So yeah, they're doing that, and they brought in a couple of people from there, their onabouts. But anyways, Toast, you want to tell us a little bit more
What?
about the story here about Sword Isekai?
So that's kind of wait. What? You caught me off, Spire. You caught me off with your pronunciation. You bamboozled me.
Of what sword?
Yeah, he said
Of
sword, and I'm like, whoa.
So,
I'm bamboozled.
I
I mean,
I'm shook.
apologize for the
it's not
emphasis.
that uncommon.
Is it? I've never heard someone say sword.
I have.
It's not
Where?
really
It's
it's not
Is this a
usually
really
regional
with
thing?
not
with
really
a relatively thick accent, but like
I didn't really mean to say it like that. It was
No, I
more
mean,
just like an
now
emphasis.
I'm curious. Is this a regional dialect kind of thing? They say
It's not
over in
a regional
Ohio.
dialect.
I
I
don't
just
think
put
there's
I,
different dialects for the word sword.
sword. Yeah, exactly. I
Is
just
this a
put the
soda
emphasis at the
versus
last
pop
word.
thing? Because I say
I
soda,
don't. I
and
think
some
you're
people
putting a
say
little bit
pop,
too much.
and I'm like, what is this?
I only said this once. I've only said that once.
Do you say soda or pop, Spire?
I don't say pop. I definitely say soda.
How about you, Near?
I say pop.
Yes. See. How about you, Dark?
I don't think
I
that's
say soda, dude.
Okay. All right.
okay.
So it is a regional
Anyways,
dialect. All right. So back on
what is
topic.
this?
The main character, the main sword dude, is voiced by Shinichiro Miki. If you don't know, he's named. Is it? Whoa, am I getting this wrong? No, it's Shinichiro Miki. Yeah.
Miki Shinochito, yeah. What about
Why? Oh, that's because. Yeah, okay. Because when I looked it up, I'm like, who is this guy? The first thing that comes up is Urahara Kisuke, and I'm like, why is that the first thing? Then I remembered Bleach, the 1,000-Year Boards this year. So okay. He's also the voice actor of Gyro Zeppeli
mm-hmm.
from the All-Star Battle games. No part 8. Is it part 8? Part 7 or 8? 8. No part 7 yet. Yeah. He's a pretty. You would recognize that dude's voice the moment you hear it. Like, damn, it's that guy. But yeah.
Mhm.
And then the other character, whatever. I'll start from the beginning. So that guy, he gets hit by a truck. He gets isekai into a sword. Then he's like, "Oh, I'm a sword and a stone." Get it, near sword and a stone on a stone
Yeah.
pedestal. Get it? Because he's a legendary sword now. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, he's in the middle of a forest, and he's like, "I guess I'm bored now. I guess I'm a sword now." And so he has the telekinesis skill, and he kills stuff. You know,
Just for fun.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I like how
'Cause
it's
he
like, yeah, of course, bro.
pretty much he's bored. He's like, I'm a sword. What am I gonna do? I might as well kill things. So he starts killing monsters around him, and then he kills like area bosses. Then he's like, "Woohoo! I'm a sword. This is so fun." So he starts flying around, but then he accidentally lands in some magic dirt or whatever. He's like, "Oh no! I landed in this suspicious dirt. Whenever I try to use a skill, it drains my mana. Oh no! I'm going to die here." Then a month later, some slave traders come in. One of them being a black cat, because get it, get it, get it, get
No.
it.
No, I
You
don't.
gotta have kimono mimi slavery every time
Oh.
you're in an isekai.
Of course.
Yeah, that's true. I
So
think
it's like
we had actually
It's one
had
of
to
the
talk
unwritten
about this.
rules.
Yeah, we had actually had to talk about this before the podcast where I mentioned like whenever like one of these Japanese isekai series, like for instance, like it mentions like a king and the king's being tyrannical, right? And like people are complaining about it. The main character will always like the Japanese author will always have like like have the main character go into this entire spiel about like, oh well, Japan has always had a democracy, like Japan always works with
Always.
yeah, always works with democracy.
wonderful
Historically,
democracy.
Yeah.
Japan has been a nation of democracy.
Yeah, it's like so I don't
there
know,
is no
like
racism
you
in
guys,
Japan. What are you thinking?
yeah, so it's like I think that's a better system than having a king. And then like after that spiel, they'll go over to like the traders, slave traders, like guild or whatever, and and then they're like slaves. Yeah, that seems fine. Like
But yeah, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna." The slave traders are like, "Oh, haha, what if?" Just saying, "What if?" You know, just saying, "What if?" We go through this spooky monster-filled woods as a shortcut. There's nothing bad that could happen, right? And then the slave caravan gets attacked. Some slaves die. Then, luckily, by happenstance, Bran comes across a sword. And then, with the sword's help, she becomes free. So now,
Hmm.
the sword, which is named Master, she, because he's a nameless sword. He's like, whatever, call me whatever. And she's like, oh, I'll call you Master because you taught me all these cool skills. And now the story is of
And
Fran's.
not because I'm a slave, okay? We need to clear that up.
Oh, I never thought of that. Damn. Nice. Yeah, that's nice.
Mm,
Perfect.
yeah.
The series just got 1 point more. Anyway, so the series is about a friend or master's all like, "Hey, Fran, what's your dream? I'm a cool sword. I can help you with that." She's like, "Oh, my dream is to evolve because apparently black cats are seen as the weakest beast race, and none of them have the ability to evolve because they're, I don't know, beastman race. No black cat in recorded history has ever been able to evolve. So that's her.
What does that mean?
I don't
Are
know.
they Pokemon? Like what?
Yes, I guess it's like
I forget. I haven't read I literally have not read the series in like over like 3 years, I think. So, or even like 5 years or something like that. It's like super long. So I wouldn't be able to remember. But I think when they say evolve, it's like it's
I
not exactly
guess
like changing forms, but it's like I think they gain like enhanced specs or something like that. I think that's it.
I guess it's like class
Uh-huh.
up, race up. You know how
Yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
elves
It's
and
like
then
enhanced specs.
there's
It's just
elves
an
and then there's
enhanced specs.
high elves.
Race up. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know how to. I don't know
Race
how to describe it better.
better race. I think maybe
Yeah.
skill for
Racial
better race. That's
stat
how it is.
increase.
Yeah.
I guess
I'm racist plus. So
Yeah, exactly.
because in some RPGs there's elves and then there's high elves which are stronger than regular elves, dark
I don't
elves, and then there's
I don't know if I'd say they're stronger.
I don't know.
Sure.
supposedly high elves are usually better in magic than regular elves. And then there's dwarf, high elf, and then there's human, and then high human. I don't know what that means, but there apparently is a high human
I-
class. That's a different race. That's
It's
a different
Elon Musk.
series.
Yeah.
Idiots.
Aragorn, Elon Musk, this
Yeah.
that sort of brand of people.
Yeah, that she wants to evolve and become a stronger race, I guess. That's
Yeah,
that's the
exactly.
whole thing.
Yeah, and
So
then like the rest of the series is mainly just about her traveling around and kind of
yeah.
meeting people and beating up baddies and stuff like that with a sword.
And before
Right.
I'm gonna nip this in the bud right here. This is not a grooming series. This is not Chainsaw Man with Makima. Apparently,
Uh-huh.
I don't know
Who
what
calls it a
the
grooming series?
Bro,
There's
literally every
no
person on Twitter will like
It's like, oh,
everybody on Twitter will
happening?
like see two people, like two characters interacting with each other and say this is grooming. This is grooming behavior.
remember when people are like, oh, this character Makima is so cool. I'm going to cosplay her on Twitter, and then later on when the series airs, I apologize for cosplaying this character. I can't believe the atrocities this character has committed. I'm like, okay.
But like the good thing about this series, and again, I haven't watched the anime yet, but I'm gonna assume that it's a straight adaptation from what
Pretty straight.
Toast is implying. Yeah. So what's really good about this series that I really like, and like a lot of my guilty pleasures, and viewers, longtime viewers of this podcast will know,
You like the slaves, huh, Spire?
yeah,
I love
I
you
like
also
the
a man.
slavery
these
part. I
slaves.
like the slavery part. Yeah, exactly.
Every
Uh,
isekai's
yeah, all the same. But yeah,
ugh.
the big part is like a lot of my guilty pleasures are like rom-com in isekai and like the rom-com hair. Like I'll be straight up. Plenty of my guilty pleasures are like that. But I think one of the really good parts about this series is that it kind of removes that aspect, and it's just like a sword that can speak, and the girl's going around hitting things with a sword. And that's pretty much it. And I actually like that aspect. It's like pretty simple, and it
There's a reason why we call it sword dad. It's because it's like
yeah, exactly.
the whole point of the journey is to watch Fran grow, not in a creepy grooming kind of way. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
check
Like the
out check
sword
out.
literally can't even do anything, and the sword knows it. It's like the sword. Like whenever you see, like even in the actual light novel or like the web novel or whatever it was from, right? Like you can tell that there's like zero interest for the author. The author is completely just like, yeah, the sword like has no romantic relations or like can't do anything or like whatever. It's just a sword that has a soul in it.
But Spire, remember when he got the doppelganger skill, he could make a physical body. But they go out of
Yeah,
their way to explain, oh, this body's super weak and lasts only a few seconds. So it's like,
yeah,
no,
exactly.
no, you creepy perverts, go away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the author's like hell bent on just being like, yeah, it's just sword dad plus the girl. But yeah, I do like that aspect of it.
Yeah, it's pretty, I guess. You could label it slice of life. It's really the adventures of Fran and her talking
Yeah, it's
sword
like it's
as
like
they
one of
do
those journey
stuff.
series. It's like
Yeah.
Majo no Tabi Tabi and stuff like that. Yeah.
No
Um.
creepiness here.
Yeah. What do you what would you say about the audio visuals?
They're fine. They're a step down from what I wanted, but
Mm.
I mainly read the manga, and the manga's got good art. I'd say good art, but
Okay.
I also checked out the light novel, and this is closer to the light novel, so that's fair. That's fair game for
Oh,
the light novel art.
okay. That's pretty good. That's pretty okay then. Yeah.
Fight scenes are, I guess, the highlight of this series. They're all right.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like
Yeah,
1 point above the average medium. They're fine.
I think they unfortunately they probably just didn't get a lot of money for the project. And C2C isn't a big studio to begin with, so they were the ones who picked it up, and it's like they kind of did what they could with it. I think they did a better job probably with something like Hitori Bochi no Maru Maru Seikatsu,
They
right?
did better with
Bochi.
Majo no Tabi Tabi and Tsukimichi.
Yeah.
Definitely.
For sure. But I think those also probably had slightly less of an action bent than uh Sword Dad for sure. Sword Isekai for sure.
Yeah,
So yeah.
well, I'm 7 episodes in. They just conquered their first dungeon, so
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it later. I do want to
12.
watch
So
it.
if this is 12, then we're not gonna go very far in the manga on what,
Okay.
or
Yeah, I
I
mean
guess
that's
the light
yeah.
novel.
It's just gonna be a
Actually, short.
promotional, right? It's just gonna be promotional for the manga slash light novel, right? So
Yeah. I mean, other than that, like the main characters, no, I don't remember. I don't recognize any of these names other than Shinichiro Miki and like, whatever. That's Sword's name. And then there's Kakuma Ai,
Takuma Ai,
who voices
Koshimizu Ami,
Fran. I don't know who
Okuborumi.
this is.
Yeah.
What do they
But yeah,
do?
the girls are all kind of like B plus A listers, pretty much all pretty relatively famous. I think Koshimizu Ami, I think among them is probably the most veteran of the female actresses. But
Oh,
Kakuma Ai, Okumorumi, famous in their own rights, obviously. But yeah,
Kakuma Ai voices Unicorn. That's cool. Unicorn from Azure Lane.
yes, sir,
I was like,
yes.
okay, that's the only I see it. But
Hmm.
yeah, series fantastic. Cute,
Pretty
cute
good,
cat
pretty
girl
good.
doing fun slaying demons. Pretty
Hmm.
much. That's it. No, no, get
Okay.
your pervert thoughts out of here. I mean,
But yeah,
and
I'm gonna have to
it's in
watch
our
it later
quest to
too.
become stronger. It's literally why we call it Sword Dad. I don't know, not much to say. I like this series. It's pretty straightforward adaptation. See how Fran grows and whatnot.
Mhm.
I mean, so far the mystery of the talking sword is uh, does it really matter? It's like you're an isekai turned sword, and I guess I guess his cheat skill in quotes
Mhm.
is that when you kill a monster and he cuts their crystal, he gains their abilities. So that's how you it's
Oh
a
yeah. Yeah, the monster crystals, right? The monster
yeah,
stones or
that's how he
whatever.
grows stronger and whatnot. So the
Yeah.
stronger monsters that they cut
I
their
I like
crystals, the
how
more skills
that
he
like
gets.
the monster sword thing has become a much more common thing in a couple of isekai like stories these days, where it's like whenever you kill a monster, you kind of get this monster stone, and the reason why that exists in the first place, obviously, like some authors might kind of just have it subconsciously because they like it, but what that does as a sort of a literary device is that it kind of easily it gives writers an easy way out to kind of explain character strength. You know what I mean? Like growth of character strength, because it's just like, yeah, they just collected all the monster stones and they just become like super powerful. So that's like an easy sort of
It's a
way
cop
for them.
out. It's a cop out addition to like if a series doesn't have the traditional leveling system, then I guess yeah we can have
Exactly.
one. But this series does have the traditional leveling system. So like oh
Hmm.
Fran's level is this now and
Right,
whatnot.
right, right.
So I mean, but
Yeah.
it's pretty standard in most RPGs. So it gets a
Yeah,
pass.
exactly. They're borrowing from
It's
that. Yeah,
fine. I
exactly.
don't have any qualms about it. But yeah, what else? I like the series. The is opening is sung by Kishida Kyodan and the Akaboshi Rockets. I don't know if you guys know who those are.
I feel like
No,
I've
me
heard of
neither.
them.
You
Fuck.
like High School of the Dead? I like High School of the
Yeah.
Dead. They did the songs for those.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew I heard Akeboshi Rockets
And
definitely
Strike the
somewhere, but
Blood
yeah.
and Gate, whatever.
Fuck
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So yeah, there's that. And then
Mm.
my own Kurosaki is the ED. Guess what she also did? High School of the Dead.
Oh, my
Ha
bad.
ha ha ha.
Oh, okay.
What? What?
So they just brought it back there. High
Yeah,
School of the
it's
Dead
like
too.
all right. And then
That's pretty
School
funny,
Life,
actually.
other stuff. I don't really know
Yeah.
her. But Spire, don't you love Rewrite?
I wouldn't say that I
I
do.
believe
No,
that's
but
also one of her songs. But yeah, Mount
okay.
Kurosaki.
Hmm.
I haven't seen her.
What
I
is?
haven't heard her songs in a hot minute, so this is a good throwback. But yeah,
Okay.
Sword Dad and his cat girl daughter go out and conquer the world. That's what this series is. What am I gonna
Good
rate it?
stuff.
9 out of 10. Why not? I'm
Why
Why not? It's
why
not a
not?
perfect series, but this is definitely one of the last bastion of late 2010? Is this the last? When was this made? Because I remember
It was
this
made
is
a while ago. Because it's a web novel original. It's not a light novel original, even, right? If I remember correctly.
sure, yeah.
But it was a while back.
This is
so.
this is the last I think of the early 2010s light novels that have gotten an anime.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah, yeah.
think this is the last one.
The light novel is 2016, but the web novel was probably before that, like a couple of years before that. So it would be like 2014-ish, from what I'm guessing.
I think this is all of the light novels that I wanted to have a adaptation to. Maybe one more, but I don't know when was it made.
It was so the first chapter was written in 2015 actually. So
Yeah.
it's barely, I think, yeah.
What is the? I think the last one that I'm actually thinking of that should get a anime is Remonster, but there's like no news on that. It got a mobile game.
Oh,
But
Remaster. That's the Goblin one, right? I think.
yeah, another Goblin one.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
Yeah. You're right. I want that one too.
Sword
Yeah.
Dead. What else? We got Sword Dead.
We already got Vending
Uh,
Machine, right?
no, but Vending Machine's
Oh,
not
isn't Vending wasn't announced though? I feel like it was announced, right?
I
Though.
feel like it
not
was.
not off the top of my head, but yeah. So we
Yeah.
got
Okay.
Slime
Yeah.
Tensei. We got Sword Dad. We got Kumo. And
We need Vending Machine. We need
we need
vending.
Vending
We
Machine,
need
and
Vending
we
Machine,
need
Dad. We need Vending
Remonster.
Machine, Dad. Yes.
Those are
And then
the last two isekais, and then my isekai cycle is complete. I will no longer talk about any other isekai.
Yeah,
So that
it's over. All Isekai is over. Yeah. After that.
unless you want me to dip into the villainous stuff. But yeah, definitely a must watch. It's not really that complicated of an isekai. Its
Mhm.
premise is pretty basic, but it's a feel good series. Like, what is
Okay.
there not to like?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Well, thank you very
I
much,
mean,
Toast. I'm gonna check it out. Yeah.
well, I have a closing remark about isekais. Do you want me to make it?
Yeah. Go for it.
You know that I was perusing through my list of PS2 games, and I came across Dot Hack. Dot Hack also counts as an
Huh?
isekai, right?
If Sword Art Online counts as an isekai, then Dot Hack
Sword
should
Art
count
Online
as an
is definitely
isekai.
isekai. But yeah, you remember
Okay.
that
Yep.
anime
Yep.
series Dot Hack Sign?
Yeah.
Yes.
I hated that series. I hated
Why?
that
Okay.
series so much.
Why?
Cause I was watching on, I watched it on. I think was it Toonami? Oh, I watched it a long time ago. I hated it so much I never watched it again. Because
Okay.
I was watching this series and I was like, I don't get it. My wee little pea brain back in the day, I was trying to watch the series like, hey, cool, I like RPG elements and whatnot, and I was like, I don't get what's happening in this story.
Uh-huh.
Same reason why I didn't like
I mean, Dot Hack story, even in the games, like it got really fucking stupid
Yeah,
pretty
because
quick.
especially since there was like a lot of like spin-offs and like stuff that like
Yeah.
kind of built into the canon with different stuff, not just Dot Hack Science, but like there were like a bunch of games too, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, there's like
And it's
three or
just
four games or something like that.
yeah.
yeah, I
I
mean, it
think
was
so.
also the same reason why my pea brain couldn't handle cerebral series back in the day. It's the same reason why I don't like Cowboy Bebop as much as I do Outlaw Star and Paranoid Agent. I hated that. I hated that series too. It's like, just tell me who the villain is already. I don't want to watch the entire series just for it to be revealed at the last episode. And it's like, oh, the whole mystery of the Dot Hack sign and who this character is. And I'm like, man, I just want to see cool RPG stuff. But it's like, no, we're gonna talk about blurring the line between reality and fantasy. And she's stuck in. Oh, I mean, he's stuck in the game. And the entire series, that character, the Wave Master dude, is just
Yeah,
like
I think I
floating
think I
around
think Dot
doing
Hack
nothing.
has
And I'm
always
like,
been. I think Dot Hack has always gotten like mixed reception, and that's not because it's like a bad series. It's more because it's definitely made for a specific type of like people that want like a specific type of experience from going through like an anime like that, and that's obviously not for everybody. So I think
I
it's always
yeah.
gotten mixed reception.
I point that out
Sure.
because I was also scrolling through Yuki Kajiura works, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember those weird chanting in dot hack sign. And I was like, oh, but I hated this series. If I had to
Is
say,
Dungeon Mesh an isekai? Is Dungeon Mesh an isekai? I don't
no,
think so. I would say
No.
no. Yeah.
but yeah, no.
Also, Slade, I agree with Slade where it says dot hack sign is like a very slow. It's almost like what I would describe it is like, you know, have anybody else in here been in like one of those like saunas or like spas where you're going to like and there's like like one of those cold baths, right? There's like a bunch of like
Yeah.
hot baths, but there's always this one cold bath,
Yeah.
right? And the way you go into it is like you literally like you like put your arms like on the edge and you like literally have to like slowly like
Oh
lower
fuck
yourself
that!
in.
I don't. No one has time for that. Just go in, man.
I can't do that to myself. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you'd.
I'd
I think
rather.
you'd fucking like. You like go into shock or something, dude. Like you're.
I mean, that's what I do. I'd rather have instant pain than rather go through the slow.
I would
I
rather
like
have my brain explode and instantly die from like nerve endings just like exploding in my body.
But yeah, it's like it's like if you guys know what that experience is like slowly easing yourself into the cold bath,
Hell no.
that's sort of how you approach that hack science. So that's sort of
mean,
how I think about
Yeah,
it.
except when you're all like all the way in, you're still like I don't know what's
I
happening.
don't know what's going
I don't
on.
know
Yeah,
what's going on.
exactly. What's happening?
you know the thing we go once toe slowly in and whatever. No, you're just increasing your surface tension. You know, you
Yeah,
gotta curl
exactly.
up into like a ball or like
That's
to
not
as
a good
small as
idea.
possible, and then just go in. That's what I do.
I don't know if
Lower,
I'd fully agree with the cannonball experience, but
smaller surface area, the less you have to, you less you feel. That's how I
there we
do
go.
it.
I
But yeah,
I don't think that's how the human body works, but all right.
Anyways,
dot hack sign sucks. I like Legend of the Twilight better. That was straight up like fun game stuff. Whatever.
anyways, thank you, Toast, for helping to cover again Reincarnated as a Sword. This is a web novel original, which became a light novel manga or got adaptations of light novel manga. And it is currently anime adaptation. It'll probably be more of a promotional than it's like full coverage of like the entire story. But you know, it is what it is. It is being done by C2C Studio, who's worked on a couple of smaller stuff recently. But yeah, if you do like a more uncommon take on isekai, and that's not just like focusing on, you know, the main character collecting, you know, his harem of girls or whatever, please do check this out. I do like it as well. I'm probably gonna watch the anime in my spare time when I can. So yeah, please do check that out. And last but not least, Nier is going to cover a series that nobody wants to watch. Nobody is interested in.
Yeah, nobody's heard of
Uh,
it.
I
yeah.
haven't heard of it.
It's Diamond in the Rough. It's a
Yeah.
bit of a hidden gem.
View counts are pretty
Oh,
low side.
oh,
Yeah.
speaking of grooming, man, I can't. I didn't know you were covering this.
Yeah. So I watched the Second Coming of Christ, also known as
Yeah.
Chainsaw Man. Um,
Can I just
Just
say?
with
Can I just
shitty
say real quick?
animation.
Can I just say real quick? One
Yeah.
of the. Do you guys care about Pokemon leaks?
no.
Remember?
Oh
Did you
yeah,
guys?
Ash finally won. Ash finally won,
Oh, no,
right?
not that.
Yeah.
Did you see the? Did you see that one Pokemon I posted?
Which one?
No.
Low kicks.
No,
Low
post it again.
kicks? What is
Check it out.
that?
Low kicks. Low kicks.
Low kicks.
Tell me you're an idiot with that by what does low kicks remind you of, near and dark? What is this Pokemon?
You need to post it. I
Did you
need to.
post it? Where is
Oh, I'll
it?
post it again.
What
All
are
right,
you?
here you go. I'll post it again. What is this Pokemon referencing?
What the fuck is on it? What is?
Here.
Oh,
What is
wait.
this Pokemon referencing?
Is that like its tail?
No, those are its third set of legs.
Oh. I mean, is it doing like a rider kick? I don't.
Thank you, Near. How about you, Dark? What did you think it was?
Yeah, I mean, I assumed from its head that it was a rider.
It's got so much shit on it. It's kind of hard to like see what it is.
When I
It's like
when
made
I
of
just
connects.
assumed its antenna was
I
like,
saw this Pokemon, I was like, "Hey, cool! That's a Kamen Rider reference." You know
oh
what
my
some other
god,
people said?
people said Chainsaw Man.
Yes.
Bro,
I was like,
why is it like that's like an
Why?
Among Us level like
and
interpretation?
don't you see its third pair of letters? Second, third,
Yeah,
I don't
it's got
second
I don't
pair.
blades in
understand
Those
it.
are
what this is.
chainsaws.
Are those like attached to its ass? I don't.
Yes. It's attached
Okay,
to its waist, and then it swivels them forward to assist with the rider kick. People are like, "Oh, it's a
gotcha.
chainsaw. It must be a chainsaw Pokemon." And I was like, "That's the hottest take I've heard all day. I must
Uh-huh.
talk about it again."
I mean, if they ever did like a chainsaw, I don't even know if there is one. But like if they ever did one, it would probably be some weird like Scyther like side evolution thing, you know?
Not to mention, look at its typing. It's a bug, dark Pokemon.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with chainsaws?
But
And
yeah.
it's like,
Pokemon aside, I
yeah,
watched Chainsaw
continue.
Man.
Yes, sir.
And you know, if you haven't heard of it, well, here you go. It's a MAPPA series. It's main production. Obviously, there's a lot of subcontractors and shit on it. Manga original.
And you said you actually wait. I wanted to mention this, but we actually talked about the staff, the general
Yeah.
staff
So
casting and direction.
the main staff, a lot of the main staff, from the main director to the co-director / action director to a lot of the just a lot of the people on this, like producer or like you name it. Like a lot of the main staff are
Mhm.
pretty new.
Yeah,
Not
or at
necessarily
least to their
new.
roles.
Yeah,
Right.
they're not necessarily new to the industry. Because the main director, Ryu Nakayama, is like he's a very seasoned animator, right? Like he's done key animation
Right.
on a lot of stuff. Everything from like Hunter x Hunter to No Game No Life to Space Dandy to Idol Master, One Punch Man, you name it, right? Like
Right. Right. Exactly.
he's done work pretty much everywhere. But he's never really directed anything.
Right.
Outside of
Exactly.
like I think he has one credit for like a music video.
Yeah.
But yeah, for other than that, like this is his directorial debut.
Right. Right.
And then
Which is usually surprising, especially especially for a lot of these heavy hitting roles in series that have likely millions of dollars poured into it, right?
yeah,
Like I'm not even like this
there's
is
a
not even a joke.
lot of
Millions
money put
plus.
into
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Putting people like, like usually you'll have directors that are like, yeah, I like did, direction for like Attack on Titan or like, at least a couple of other like big series as well, usually.
Yeah.
So,
And then the co-director, who's credited as the action director. I don't know what the fuck that means, but he's like he's got a little bit more under his belt. Like I think he directed a good chunk of Black Clover. Obviously he's done key animation on a lot of stuff. He's done storyboarding on a lot of stuff. I think he directed some of Master Musume as well. But yeah, it's relatively I don't want to say like inexperienced staff, but it is a sort of interesting
yeah.
choice.
Promising young staff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I
It's
will
it's
say
definitely
like
they're taking out they're going on a walk on like definitely new positions for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
The main people that I've noticed that are like I guess, more just experienced veterans like within their role would be Hiroshi Seko, who's doing the script. He's done, script and series composition on a lot of MAPPA stuff. He's doing
Right.
been doing Attack on Titan, Mob Psycho, Jujutsu Kaisen, Decadence, Dorohedoro, a lot of stuff, right?
Do you think that sort of the decent pacing shows up okay in Chainsaw Man itself?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And then of course the music is done by Kensuke Ushio, who, who's not. I mean, he's not. I don't want to say he's necessarily like a legend, but like
Mhm.
he's
very
definitely
prolific.
he's absolutely proven himself to be like one of the best, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And the music in this show is very good. But yeah, Chainsaw
Mhm.
Man. If you don't know, it's a shonen series. There's a guy who works as a devil hunter for the Yakuza, and then the Yakuza betrays him to work with a devil, and then he dies, and then his pet, Denji's pet devil, it basically takes over his body and gives him like a new chance at life, and then he becomes Chainsaw Man. He's basically a half devil who can turn into the Chainsaw Devil, to where he gets chainsaws shooting out of his arms and his forehead. And then he
Mhm.
works with the government basically to hunt devils as well, and
Mhm.
sort of just goes through that.
So is
Um,
he fully conscious and like there are no abnormal changes within his like mental state during this transformation or what?
yeah, he's fully conscious.
Okay.
He gets a bit, gets a little kooky sometimes.
Right.
But I think that's just part of Denji's character in general. Yeah, very, 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 very popular series. If
Because
you haven't,
usually the reason why I kind of like make an emphasis on pointing this out is because usually in a lot of these the stereotypical way it goes about is that the moment you get the power, especially with like the idea of like Makima and the others, right? Like once a more stereotypical writing would be like the moment he becomes Chainsaw Man, he just goes berserk. You know what I mean? Like that would be a
yeah,
very stereotypical thing to do, but he doesn't. I think that's an interesting sort of like variant.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I don't really know. I guess in terms of just like what I want to cover this is mostly
Mhm.
just gonna be like the quality of the adaptation. I don't really want to go through the story
Yeah,
beats
sure.
because like
That's fine. It's a
um
straight add up, more or
it's
less,
a
plus truncations. Are there truncations?
it's pretty straight. There are some truncations, there are some
Truncation. Are there
additions,
additions? Yes.
there
Okay.
are additions. And for the most part, I think everything is for the better. But yeah, in terms of an adaptation, it's like almost like panel for panel, straight adaptation.
I think
As
they did that
for
because they're afraid. Like
yeah,
they
I
were
mean,
deathly
absolutely right.
afraid.
Like I mean, the director has sort of in a lot of the interviews, like he's a huge fan, right? Like he's a huge fan.
You mentioned this, I think, in
So
during the interview
obviously,
stuff.
they did
Mhm.
want to do a very, very faithful adaptation. Um, but usually, it's not too, it's not like super common that you get like panel for panel, like a perfect recreation of scenes. Um,
Mhm.
but this one really did that. And, like
Yeah.
Spire said, there's definitely, like, there's absolutely an element there where they're like, we can't really fuck with this. Like,
We're
there's no
gonna
way.
get so much
Um,
death threats in the mail if we
yeah.
do this. If we fuck this, yeah.
As for truncations, in episode 2, uh, the I guess basically the biggest truncation they've done is they cut out an entire fight scene, that happens in chapter 2, when Denji and Makima are out getting udon. Denji is like, um, he's like on the brink of collapsing, right? Because prior to that, he
Mhm.
just wiped out an entire warehouse full of zombies. Um, and then this dad comes up behind them because like they're dressed in like the devil hunter uniforms, so I guess people just know that like if a devil like shows up, they come up to them and say, hey, there's a devil over there. But this dad comes up and he's basically like, this devil has kidnapped my daughter, can you go help me, right? And Makima is like, Denji, you need to go fight this devil before you get your food. um and he goes and does that, and then nothing really happens in the fight. There's really no benefit to the fight. There's no like real repercussions. So I think it's honestly a good thing that they cut that out because it would have just wasted time, I think. Um, Later on, they sort of add that father daughter, like him saving that into a later fight, which is a good addition because that does pop up later in the story.
Mhm.
But yeah, as for stuff like additions, there's quite a few sort of extensions of like character backstories and sort of character interactions. A lot of the a good bit of scenes where like Power is like roaming the wilderness and sort of just feeding on random animals while she takes after her pet cat. They've expanded onto that a lot more than the manga did. A lot of scenes with Aki, basically that whole like morning routine he does in I think episode 4. Like that's not in the manga at all. It sort of goes in more like Aki's like tidy
So
nature.
none of the
Um,
so just to clarify, none of these additions really change the plot at all. It's just fleshing. It just helps to enhance and flesh out
yeah, it really
the
helps to
backstory.
sort of give insight to a character.
Right.
There's one additional scene. I'm almost 100% certain this wasn't in the manga, but it's been a bit. There's a scene after Denji, fights the Bat Devil, right?
Mhm.
And there's a whole ruckus about whether the devil hunting agency is sort of going to get rid of Power or not for like almost betraying Denji to like save her pet cat, right? And
Mhm.
Denji covers for her, and they sort of let it slide. There's a scene in the anime where Aki is sort of, I guess, giving the brief to Makima and sort of like going over like what he thinks should happen. I'm pretty sure that scene was not in the manga, and there's
Oh, okay.
there's some key details in that scene I think that really like give insight onto the relationship between Aki and Makima, which is a really good addition I think. There's a lot of like minor stuff, a couple like additional lines here and there. A lot of it is very good, just very good additions that sort of give you small little tidbits and pieces of insights into the characters that aren't initially presented in the manga.
Mhm.
So I think it's very smart.
I think that's again a both good job, obviously on the general direction team, but also especially again the script writer itself himself, because as you mentioned, he's quite a veteran at this. But
Yeah,
I think just because I've seen additions, like for the most part, additions in series in anime series have mostly turned out to be pretty decent when they did happen, because I'm sure they take a lot of care in doing it. But a lot of them tend to kind of end up easily crossing the line to kind of start messing with the plot and the sort of how the precise trajectory of the series ends up being. And that happened in a negative way in something like Akamega Kill or like Kumiko, right? And it happened in sometimes a more positive way in terms of something like a potentially Overlord or like um what was I gonna say? Something like Spice and Wolf, right? Maybe with like a small addition of like Nora or whatever, right? But they
yeah,
all kind of do have like these weird
This
shifts. And I think it's
mm,
interesting that in Chainsaw Man, they did manage to thread the needle so that it didn't really fuck with it as much to those extents.
yeah.
So
Well, Chainsaw Man as a story, I think it's very straightforward, right? Like it's quite simple.
it's relatively
It's
episodic,
very
right? With mini
brisk as
arcs,
well.
right?
It's so it's
Mini arcs or what
it's
with
not
development?
really it's not really mini arcs. It's like so we're 5 episodes in right now, right?
Yes.
And where we're at, where episode 5 ends, is basically like almost to the end, I think, of volume 3, right? So,
Okay.
and I think right now, there are 9 volumes. Um, and so the way it's sort of structured is like there are arcs, but it's mostly kind of just the characters like getting wrapped up in something, and then they go on to like the next job kind of thing. It's not really episodic because there's the overarching plot of the gun devil, right, which is sort of the big bad. He's the scariest devil. He's killed fucking millions of people. Nobody
It's
knows
not
where he
purely
is.
episodic, but it's like the general structure is relatively episodic
In
with
terms of the
gradual
focus,
development.
like the general
Yeah.
focus of like what the characters are currently doing, it is very
Yeah.
much like a mini arc based sort of thing.
Yes,
You know, you get like
but
a
then the
handful
gradual
of
development is
chapters.
towards the gun devil.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm assuming the way that we're headed with the anime, it'll probably end with Gun Devil.
Right. This is
and
24
then
eps, right? What is it?
It's 12, apparently.
It's gonna get a second season, right?
I mean, I can't see this not getting another core or another season.
Right.
It's huge, right? Like it's fucking massive. And Mappa has said before that they do want to adapt all of it.
Mhm.
And you know, Chainsaw Man's first part of the manga is over, so they definitely could do that. But yeah, the way I see it is sort of them just wrapping up Gun Devil stuff. But like yeah, it's like arc based. So yeah. But yeah, just like the what I was saying earlier in terms of like additions and stuff. I feel like there's the story is fairly like simple, and like all the characters are pretty like cemented in sort of what they do, what their motivations are, and what like why they're there. That there's kind of really hard to fuck with that. Like I don't really see how they could like really alter the trajectory of the plot unless they like do something insane and they introduce like a completely original character or they take out a character or
I don't
something.
think they will.
I really doubt they would do that. Pretty much everything they've ever indicated in reviews and promotional material is saying that they want as faithful of an adaptation as possible, while just sort of enhancing on it, right?
Sorry, pal, we're gonna have an actual coffee devil arc.
Yeah,
That's
But
what you don't
Nier,
realize.
what about the rotoscoping?
yeah. So
Let's talk
Yeah,
about
and the
that.
god
Talk about that.
awful garbage
So in
dog
terms
shit
of
CG.
we
Yeah.
can go over the audio visuals. So I'll just say it straight up. This is one of the most amazingly animated series I've ever seen. And there are some people online, mostly Twitter, anti-Twitter, being the incredibly high IQ community it is, that are complaining about CG, right? And that, a decent amount of shots, a handful of shots here and there, when Denji is in his Chainsaw Man form, he's CG sometimes. And to be honest, that's pretty understandable. It's kind of hard to 2D animate a man made of chainsaws.
Right,
It's
exactly.
not easy. However, pretty much all of the devils he's gone up against are 2D. They're fully 2D animated.
Okay.
And they look good. They look really good. They're adapted really well. They're very detailed. They look good in motion. All of the action has been really, really good. And yeah, there have been a handful of shots of rotoscoping. And, rotoscoping is a very valid form of animation. I don't know
Yeah.
why
The issue
people.
is it gets a bad rep because some of the examples, some of the bad apples that we got, again, most infamously, I want to say Aknohana, right? It's just
That'll never get old.
Yeah, I
so
mean,
bad
for sure.
that it
But
got
you
a
also
bad
have to
rep.
realize, like, people fucking. What is this fucking series? The Chica dance, right? The ED.
Oh yes.
People love that shit. That shit was a huge
Yeah,
meme,
exactly.
right?
People
That
ate that up,
entire
yeah.
thing is rotoscoped. That whole
exactly.
sequence
You
is
can see it.
rotoscoped.
You can
Yeah, you
literally
can
see
see
it.
it. You can see it is rotoscoped. But people are like, I don't know if people didn't realize, and people really just thought like, wow, they just hand animated all of her like dress physics perfectly. No, bro, that shit's rotoscoped. Like, I don't know why rotoscoping, like just the term rotoscoping, leaves like a really bad taste in some people's mouth. I don't know if people seem to think it's like like cheating or like tracing or something.
Yeah, it takes like
Uh,
zero effort, dude. Everyone
yeah,
knows
for
that.
sure. But no, rotoscoping is a very valid form of animating, and you know
Very
there are
exactly.
some
It gets a
incredibly
bad
good.
rap,
There are
but
some
you know.
incredibly good like sequences and films that are entirely rotoscoped. You know, even series like I think one of the most famous examples that I always think of to where it's like a scene that is rotoscoped, but it's really weird as to why it's rotoscoped is do you remember that scene in Idolmaster where it's like they're outside and one of them like drops like a bag of chips or something and they like I'll see if I can find it later, but it's a really weird scene. It's a very slow paced scene. Um, but like one of the girls like drops a bag of chips or something in the middle of a conversation, and it's rotoscoped. It's like them picking it up, but it's like just interspliced in between like normal animation, and it's very jarring.
Oh, okay.
And if it
I
was
feel
like
like
that,
I know the scene that you're talking about, but it's
yeah,
been a while. Yeah.
if it was like that, I would kind of understand like people being like, "Oh, rotoscoping, like what the fuck?"
Yeah.
But it's not like that,
But it's
you
not.
know.
Yeah.
Like it's rotoscoping in a scene where like two characters are like sort of interacting with each other or scuffling with each other or something, or a character is like running at it like a shifting angle or something. You know, these are things
Right.
that are very
Exactly.
hard to just storyboard out and then draw from hand, right? So a lot of people will use rotoscoping. Um, and I think the pretty much all of the rotoscoping in Chainsaw Man looks good. Like it looks really good. There's also a lot of stuff I see where people are like, "Ew, this is CG," when it's literally not CG. Like it's entirely 2D animated. And I think that just really goes to show how smooth some of the animation is, to where
Right.
people are seeing 2D animation and they're like, this is too smooth to be 2D, so it must be CG. Therefore,
Right.
it must
Exactly.
look bad. But it's like this is
Right.
2D animation, dude. Like that's how like smooth it is. Um,
Yeah. They're
and
they're
like
just kind of trying to find something essentially
yeah,
at that point.
like Chainsaw Man is gorgeous. It's a really really well done like just piece of animation to the point where I've noticed like character acting moments where characters are talking and like their lips are like they've animated characters' lips like sticking together as they open. Like like that's how much attention to detail these animators have put in to the animation of this series. It's absurd. And you know, it's really good. I've also seen complaints. You know, I've sort of acknowledged this complaint before in previous episodes, but there are some people that have been like, "Oh, it should be more colorful" or something like that. Personally,
No.
I very much
Wh-
disagree.
Why? Like, why would this need more color?
Because Chainsaw Man's manga covers are very colorful, and
Ha
it's
ha
like,
ha.
you know, a full series that's colored like that would look like shit. First of all, second of all, it really wouldn't fit with the overall like just tone of the series, where it's really not that bombastic all the time. Like maybe sure if they want to like you know go a bit more colorful in some of the action scenes, they could do that.
Right.
But I think it would be a bit odd to just have that and then have a relatively standard, you know, semi. I don't want to say muted because it's not really muted. It's just sort of like it's. I guess realistic is the word I would use. But yeah, it would just be strange to see. I do think like Chainsaw
The
Man.
art style itself doesn't need to
Lend
be
itself.
fully saturated
Yeah,
like that.
like I think like Fujimoto's stories are they're very bombastic and they're very like, you know, they're outlandish, right? Like when you hear fucking a synopsis like Chainsaw Man where a guy turns into a bunch of chainsaws and then he fights giant devils, right? Like that's like, whoa, that's crazy, right? But like in terms of a lot of the stuff that goes on in Fujimoto's stories and sort of the way characters behave, react, think. It's pretty like down to earth relatively.
Right.
A lot of the characters are pretty realistic.
It's muted in comparison to regular like anime reactions, but
Yeah,
it's more realistic when you actually compare it to real people,
yeah,
or more organic rather.
yeah. But like like something like Fire Punch, right? It's a very out there, like outlandish story, but it's still very like I don't know if gritty is really the word, but like real, like it feels almost relatable in a way. It's a very strange way he has of writing stories, but yeah, I don't think the really bombastic coloring would have worked. I do think this take they've gone is really good. It's got relatively thin lines. The colors are pretty pretty realistic. It's good. It's a really good tone overall. Yeah, I'm kind of rambling a bit, but this series is just it's gorgeous, right? It's really good. Like they've done pretty much everything correctly. There have been a couple cuts here and there that have kind of been like, that looks a bit weird, but there's there's only so much you can do.
Right.
And this is something I have noticed about this series is that they're sort of taking a uh, sort of a micro approach to the way Evangelion did episode directors, right? In which pretty much every episode has a completely different episode director.
Yes, I
Which
saw that
is
too.
which isn't like super common. Obviously,
Mhm.
multiple episode directors is a relatively common thing, but you usually don't have one on like a different one for every single individual episode. And
Mhm.
for those of you who or may not know, Evangelion as a series sort of had like 4 episode batches with different like episode directors, basically, which is why like as you go through this like Evangelion as a series, the animation style and sort of art direction can shift quite a bit. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I think that could be some of the explanation of what like some people are saying is a little bit maybe slightly inconsistent like pacing for some of like the action sequences and stuff. There is a different episode director for every episode, um, which includes stuff like animation directors and whatnot as well, I'm pretty sure.
Right, exactly.
Um,
They're just bringing in all the money, or they're using all the money that they have in
yeah,
their budget.
and they're bringing in like as much talent as possible too, right? So
Mm.
yeah, overall, I mean, like how do
On the
you
note of on the just a quick thing, on the note of having the episode directors for like every you know episode, right? They also have one other thing that's also changing for every episode, the EDs,
yeah,
right?
the
They,
EDs are
you
different.
want to talk a little bit more about the general, I guess, audio stuff as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so uh the OP, right,
Mhm.
is amazing, right?
Kick
It's
back, baby.
yeah,
Ugh.
it's Yonezu Kenshi,
Uh-huh.
very very famous singer,
Yeah.
very very good singer. Kickback
Yeah. Hanging
is a
out and
banger.
yeah, putting it out with Vocaloid style,
Yeah.
like J Rock, pretty hard. Yeah, it goes hard.
The visuals for the OP are obviously, just I mean, it's one of the best OPs we've had in a very long time.
Yes.
As for the EDs, Chains of Man has set out to have a different song and different visual for its ED every single episode.
Yes. Yes.
They pre-announced like pretty much all of them, although I don't think they ever specified the order, so that's like to a bit of mystery. Obviously, we've got 5 of them out. You've got Chainsaw Blood by Vondi. You got Zangi by Zutamayo. You have Hawaratari ni Okusenti by Maximum the
Mhm.
Hormone. You have Josei
Yeah.
by
By the way,
Tsubo.
like stuff like these are all like big names, like
Yeah,
in Japan
these
at
are huge
least.
names.
Like these are
Never
big
heard of
names.
them.
Yeah.
You have In the Back
Yeah.
Room by Pseudo, which is probably in terms of like just like song wise, the pseudo
Mhm.
song is probably my favorite so far. Yeah, they're all like, you know, when I heard that they were gonna do like different visuals for like every ED, I was kind of imagining like, oh, okay, so they'll do like different character cutouts or something, and they'll, have them sort of just moving along the screen or something. Like I was imagining something pretty simple, right? But no, these are like fully animated, animated in very different styles. Um, you know, apparently they're getting a lot of like overseas animators and stuff to work on the EDs as well, which is very cool. And they're very very unique, and they all sort of thematically like fit with the characters that are appearing in each episode and the general like mood of each episode. It's very very it's pretty wild, right? Like it's pretty much completely unprecedented that a series gets something like this. Like different like tracks, like audio tracks is one thing. Like, there was that one like anime about like the voice actor industry and like the girls sort of wanting to be VAs, which had like the main cast sort of covering like different like iconic anime songs in each ED. I forget what that show was called, but it was a nice, cute touch. But like, I can't think of a single anime series that has had something like this, where it's like, yeah, here's like a different track from these huge artists for every episode with a fully animated, like totally different ED every episode.
Yeah,
It's
I
pretty
mean, and
insane.
even yeah,
But
even
near. What
just
about
having different
Joro
EDs.
Hedoro?
It was a bit different.
Yeah, I think even having EDs for like every like episode period, like animation aside, or even just like more than 3 or 4 EDs, even having 3 EDs is uncommon. Having more than 3 or 4 or X number of EDs is pretty much like once in a decade, I would say. And
Yeah,
that's
it's
not
it's quite
exaggerating. It's like
rare.
once again, the only example that I can properly think of is Nichijou, right? Because
Yeah.
Nichijou had, but even that didn't have it for every episode. It had like the regular stuff, the regular sort of like the standard ED for a couple of episodes. It has some variants of that, and then like for the other like later couple of like stuff, it had a bunch of like EDs. But even that's like that. It's not like these were all sung by like again, you like Yunus Kenji, Higedan, like stuff like that. That's not
Yeah.
how it went. It was like sung by pretty regular people, um, or like the voice acting cast or whoever, right? So, to although it's not necessarily always the case that the music. I mean, usually the music like OPED aren't like paid as much as obviously the overall animation work because the overall animation work gets usually the bulk of it, right? But like they probably received a lot of money overall for this. There's a lot of money that went into the music department for
Yeah.
this series. Yeah. Anyways,
But yeah, as for the
yeah.
overall like raw soundtrack, it is also very good.
Mhm.
It kicks in at really good times. Tracks themselves are pretty banging. The action tracks are really good. The sadder tracks are pretty good. The casual tracks are pretty good. Just overall very solid.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, did it live up to the hype? I don't think that's possible. Obviously, people hype this absolute shit out of this. Like
Well,
people
I mean,
genuinely.
I
I think
I
people
think it did
genuinely.
live up to the hype,
Well,
right? But it's
so
not.
I think people talked up Chainsaw Man like as an anime as like it would be like this is going to like revolutionize the anime industry. Like anime will never be the same type shit. Which obviously like
Yeah,
no
that's a little bit
like
different. I
no
think,
show is really going to do that.
except for
In terms
Evangelion, I
of
think.
yeah, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
But in terms of like living up to and faithfully adapting like one of the most like beloved manga
Anticipated,
of
yeah.
our
Yeah, exactly.
like our time. I would say
Mm.
I'd say it lives up to it. It absolutely, does the manga justice, and then some, in my opinion. Um, you know, it's good.
Mhm.
Oh, the last thing I want to mention is the voice cast, right?
Yes, sir.
So Denji, the main character, is voiced by Kikunosuke Toya, who is, as far as I'm aware, a complete newcomer. I don't know whose son this is, but he's obviously got connections.
Well, no, sometimes you can just kind of have this random like protagonist like role, especially since it's like a male kind of thing. It's like as like, some like person, and it's just like it's like how that that one girl, right, got the two main roles in this season, who was like relatively, I mean, she had like her role in like Wake Up Girls, right? But like
Yeah.
that one girl had like two main protagonists, landed both in the Mushikaburi Hime, right? And I believe Kokyu no Karasu. She got like both of the main
Yeah,
roles.
yeah.
Sometimes it can happen, especially with like the male roles, because like they're always like 9 million female roles and like one male role, and it's like
Yeah,
so
I
there
just
are like
have
two
to
male voice
like I
actors.
just have
Yeah.
to imagine like the auditions for this role. It'd be like,
Apparently, he did a freaking YouTube he was part of a YouTube project before this, and like that was his only real experience. Like what, bro?
I guess, man. He
Hey
must have
man,
left
they
quite the
heard
Question
impression.
him.
mark?
They heard him laugh, and they were like, "Okay, you're in."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't you
The
male
other
get it?
choice
female
Fire?
was
idol, you are in.
Nobuhiko Akamoto, so
Don't Fire? Don't you get the
his
allegory?
normal delivery is quite nice.
In this series, it's a random normal dude that suddenly became Chainsaw Man. So they're saying that if you try hard enough, maybe you can
Yeah.
become the next
He's
Denji.
he's just like me
I just
for
want
real,
a
dude.
I just want a live event where
Simply find a
they put
chainsaw
chainsaws on this
dog.
guy. I just want a live event where they just force him to cosplay as actual Chainsaw Man and just have him run across the stage.
Yeah.
No one
That's
will.
all I
Don't worry.
want.
No one will notice.
But yeah, Makima is voiced by Tomori Kusunoki, who,
Yeah.
like
Makima.
I've said before, relative newcomer. She's had a few main roles before, but a lot of them have been like
She's
lolly
she
roles.
started, yeah, I think she mainly really got her kind of push in, I think, from the most recent Love Live, if I remember correctly. Although she's done a couple
She
of
was
stuff
in
before.
Gun Gale Online as well. She was
Oh, okay,
the
okay.
pink girl, the main girl.
Mhm.
But yeah, she's done quite a few like lolly younger roles. But she's doing Makima now. I think she's doing a very, very good job. Power, voiced by Fighter Zai.
Yes, sir.
No further explanation needed.
Yeah.
Aki, voiced by Sakata Shogo.
Mhm.
Very good voice actor.
Mhm.
You have Kobeni, who has had, I mean, she's shown up. She's done really nothing but scream so far. Voiced by Karen Takahashi,
Yeah.
who's,
Known
famously
for doing
Morikubo no no, among other similar roles.
Yeah. She shows good flexibility, though, obviously,
Yeah,
because
and
it's a
then
little bit of a contrast, right?
yeah, you've got characters like Himeno, voiced by Issei Maria, and Angel Devil, who hasn't shown up yet, voiced by Uchida Maya.
Yes.
Yeah, very interesting cast.
Yeah. Most of them
There's
are all
also
like pretty experienced, except for the actual protagonist himself, which is pretty funny. Because like
yeah,
he's surrounded by Fire who's like obviously not like super like 15 years veteran, but
I
like
mean, but
she's
she's
obviously she's a
making
star. She's
waves.
a
Like
superstar.
she's making
Yeah, she's a
huge
star.
waves.
Yeah, she's a star, and surrounded by Tomori Kusunoki, who's obviously one of the bigger, sort of younger, like up and comers, right? Hamano Daiki, Takahashi Karin, Suda Kenjiro, Uchida Maya, Issei
Yep.
Maria, Hanae Natsuki, Goto Saori, just like Umanase Ayumu, Saito Eri, like just like all these names, like coming down the list, right? So
Yeah, it'll be it's very interesting to see. I do wonder if we'll get any insights as to what the hiring process was like for
yeah, we're probably gonna get like one of those. I think like for instance, like K Project, right? Which was like that one like Fujoshi bait series had that radio where like Sugita like talked about the interview process with like all the others, right? It's gonna be like that where like somebody's like they're gonna have a podcast or they're gonna have a radio where they're just gonna talk about that shit and like in the middle of it, it's like, yeah, I just like randomly got hired. Like the guy behind me was like Nakamoto Ichi.
Yeah.
Like it's very interesting. Yeah, again, as you said, there was probably a lot of competition, but it's surprising that he got it. Um, especially considering his like I think a little bit more of a newcomer's resume, right? You could
Yeah.
say.
Like he
But would you say he does a good job at it? The casting was a good pick,
Yeah,
or
so Denji is he's a very simple man, right? Like Denji as a character is basically someone who he has not been able to live, really. Like he's not been able to experience life. He was never able to experience a childhood. Um, and so, you know, he's very childlike. But he's also very like, you know, uh I guess socially like inexperienced. Like he doesn't really know how to talk to people. And so the way that that Fujimoto wrote that into the manga is he slurs a lot of his words, right? And he'll mispronounce stuff a lot of the times. Um, and the way Toya does it here in like the voice performance is he's pretty muted a lot of the time. Obviously he'll shout when he's excited and stuff, but in terms of sort of just talking to people, he sort of has this disinterested tone, unless it has to do with stuff like that he himself is interested in which his voice will pick up. It's very simple, but it's got quite a bit of nuance in it as well. It's a really good performance, I think. And obviously, he does slur and mispronounce every once in a while as well, which is, obviously I'm sure he was directed to do that or it was in the script or whatever, but he makes it sound like it's not out of place, right? Like it's not emphasized when he's like slurring and mispronouncing. It is sort of, it sounds very like just naturally in his vocabulary. So yeah, I do think he did a very good job, sort of making like just the minor nuances of a character like Denji just sound like almost completely natural to like his normal speaking voice. Yeah, so quite good.
Okay. Pretty good, pretty
So
good. Any last
near.
words?
Before we get to that, near, who's
Yeah.
best girl?
I'm a power gamer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Even though she doesn't flush after herself, hell yeah.
Yeah. She stinks, but besides power though, I do like Reese quite a bit.
So near, what about Makima?
I am an avid Makima hater. All my homies hate Makima.
Can
Are you
I
sure,
also
Nier?
say something?
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
pretty
like
sure.
I don't like gaslighting girl bosses. So
No.
Can I also like say something like the whole like hate or whatever aside, right? Like there are plenty of people who cosplay like evil girls, right? Like for instance, one famous example is like like Elsa in ReZero, right? That like one assassin girl who's like
Sure.
like doing crazy shit or whatever, who's like like doing the early villain shit. Like there are plenty of people who cosplay the sexy cosplay for her, right? But then what I don't get is like why was there such a backlash to
Have
people
you
cosplaying
read
Makima?
Chainsaw Man?
Unfortunately not. I have
So
not gotten into it
you
yet.
don't know what she does.
No.
It's bad. I'll say that. It's bad. Like
But I mean, it hasn't really
I mean,
that's never deterred people before, right?
not
Like
really, but like think of it like this. There's not very many people that cosplay Ken from Persona 3, right?
hmm
Yeah, that's why. Like, so it's like that. You know what I mean? Like
But
the
I
shit she
mean,
does is like you. It doesn't really matter. Like how much you love the fucking gaslight gatekeep girl boss character archetype. Like
hmm
like she is despicable. Like she's
Mhm.
horrid, like awful, just horrendous
Right.
person. And the stuff she does in like near the ending of part 1 is just like I don't know how you can like a character like that. Like it's you know, it's one of those things where it's like betrayal isn't even like is like completely underselling it. So,
Mm.
I'm not gonna get too into it. Obviously, the writing is on the wall from like chapter 2 in the manga, but like it's without just straight up saying it, it's sort of hard to be like, oh yeah, you could just like this character. Like, there's no way. There's just no way.
Mm.
At least most sane people are like, yeah. But yeah, in terms of like the like backlash of like, oh, I can't believe I cosplayed this person. It's that. It's like, damn, like I dressed up as like a character that did something like this. Like, you feel dirty afterwards,
Right.
right?
It's all about that. It's all about that clout, you know. It's like, oh, I'm trying to be a good. I'm trying to be. I didn't know this was about this character. I'm sorry. They don't really
Yeah.
care. Gotta keep up
I
with the
my
public
my
image.
reaction was always just like, you guys are always cosplaying, like half naked ladies. So it's like, what's another, just like a random character to you guys kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it
I
was,
mean,
I
But
always kind
Spire,
of found
how
that a
many of
little bit
them were
overgrown.
groomers?
I mean, the groomer. So the groomer shit is so like, it's so
Overblown.
silly. Like, it's very silly to be like, oh, she's a groomer. It's like, like if people knew like at all, like that would be the least of like anybody's worry. It's like, yeah, no shit, she's a fucking groomer. Like she's a literal like perpetual gaslighter. Like you can understand that from literally like the millisecond that like she speaks. She just is one of those characters. Like she's not supposed to be a good person. But yeah, it's very funny just seeing the discourse of people being like, wait a minute, wait a second. Yeah, she's not a good person.
Wait a minute, what the fuck is this shit?
But yeah, overall, I mean, final thoughts for me. I mean, it's good, believe it or not. It is very, very good.
But near, is it better than Fire Punch?
I like Chainsaw Man more than Fire Punch. I think Fire Punch. So Fujimoto's stories are like very, very fast paced, right? Like there's a lot of stuff that happens very quickly. I feel like Fire Punch didn't really like, I think Fire Punch escalated too quickly. But Fire Punch is like very memorable, obviously. I do think it gets a bit confusing, a bit too quick at some points. But personally, overall, I do like Chainsaw Man a little bit more. But yeah, yeah, Chainsaw Man's good. It's really good. I like it a lot. But also, I would also highly recommend Fire
Remember when
Punch.
people were saying that Chainsaw Man is too muted in colors? What if he showed them Fire Punch colors? I sure love all white.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way you have to draw that, right? But yeah, in terms of I guess what I'd rate it, I mean, I'd probably give it a 9.
Okay.
I think it's really good. I think
Right.
it's pretty
Definitely
amazing.
contender for anime of the year for you.
Yeah, I would say it's certainly a possibility.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very good. Highly recommend. I mean, if you're not watching it already, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But yeah, I absolutely recommend it.
All right. Good stuff.
Oh yeah, what's your score though, Near?
He
9.
said 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said 9.
9
All
out
right,
of
pretty
5?
good.
Gotcha.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, 9 out of 5. Anyways, thank you, Nier, for helping to cover. I know it was a sort of a uh, very big undertaking, but I would like to thank you for helping to cover Chainsaw Man. Again, if you guys don't know this by now, you guys are living under a rock, and you guys should get out from under that rock. Probably. It is Chainsaw Man, done by Mappa Studio. It is a manga original. Currently slated to get 12 episodes. Will likely get 24, maybe more. So we'll have to see. It is a good series. Good all around specs. You should check it out. No more words needed. We will move now on to the news here. Not a lot of like big news today, but I do have some like people news because it's like some of this stuff is like relatively significant. So I do want to kind of cover it before we head on out. So first off on the list here, Gundam creator Yoshiyuki Tomino received the 71st Kanagawa Cultural Award for his work on anime and his influence both in Japan and overseas. Tomino received the award at Kanagawa Prefectural Hall on Thursday for Culture Day. So obviously no introduction needed, right? Yoshiyuki Tomino, director of the initial Mobile Suit Gundam anime in 1979, stuff so on. Worked on Astro Boy and a bunch of other stuff that are obviously famous now.
Never heard of Gundam. Are you sure you're not thinking of Ideon?
Anyways, congratulations to him. Next, Studio Ghibli actually is teasing a collaboration. His late ass. Is Chainsaw Man anime better than Berserk Memorial Edition though? Near, do you want to answer that?
So from what I understand, the Berserk Memorial Edition is effectively a repackaged version of the Golden Age
Old one?
movies. That came out like a handful of years ago. I do think those movies look very good. Sans some of the CG, but yeah, I'll probably say Chainsaw Man's better, personally.
Okay, pretty good. So Studio Ghibli posted a tweet on Thursday with a video teasing the Lucasfilm logo, followed by Studio Ghibli's logo. So it's probably gonna be something Star Wars related, right? But it's interesting that again,
More than likely,
Lucasfilm.
unless it's
Yeah.
Indiana Jones. I don't know.
I mean, there is like an actual Indiana Jones following, although they call it like
Yeah.
Indie Jones or something like that, which is very weird. I don't know why they do that, but there is an actual Indiana Jones following in Japan for one reason or another. But I do think it's interesting that there's more and more of a reach out, at least on by Lucasfilm / Disney Plus, which is a good idea, especially since if you guys don't know, Disney is extremely popular culturally in Japan. Like
Oh, yeah.
like Disney, like going to Disneyland like in Japan is like a cult is like a
It's like a
almost
religious
like a subgenre.
experience. Like,
Yeah, it's like a subgenre in and of itself. Like they're literally like almost like a branding of how like so you guys might need to like go around in like Japanese Twitter a little bit, but it's like there's this thing where it's like you'll have like otaku girls, right? Or you'll have like um gotholic cosplay girls, or like girls who are into wrestling or whatever, right? So there's an entire like subgenre of like these like girls that just love going to Disney, just like Disney stuff. That is like literally like one of their like facets of their personality. It's like insane. And like two of like the biggest like biggest like and most prosperous Disneyland parks have pretty much always been Tokyo and Osaka Disneylands. So it's a big thing. So I think it's interesting that Disney is pushing a little bit more for that like anime side, localization, integration kind of side, but we'll see how it pans out. Next, new manga creator Hagemoto, the Japanese government announced on Monday, Japan's Culture Day, that is awarding manga creator Hagemoto with the Order of the Rising Sun, gold raised with neck ribbons. So again, this is one of the highest civilian awards that can be given to, or highest awards that can be given to a civilian. It's sort of like, I think the U.S. equivalent is like Medal of Honor or something like that, or like the Presidential Award or something like that, right? Presidential Medal of Freedom, I think, right? It's like the highest civilian medal. It's like similar to that essentially. And So she is essentially the sort of pioneer or one of the pioneers, probably the major pioneer of like shoujo and
Yeah.
like BL manga.
I mean,
So
she basically invented like the shoujo art
BL
style.
Yuri kind of
Like,
shoujo stuff, as well as the BL like Yuri kind of stylings and like
yeah.
the sort of archetypal structures. So she is extremely big, and obviously, again, if you want to kind of go through the history of like these like anime archetypes and manga archetypes, it would be good. It would behoove you. It would behoove the listeners out there to kind of just go through some of her works. But yeah, she did receive this medal again. Congratulations to her. And a little bit of funny thing again. Ishikawa Prefectural Police revealed on Wednesday that they arrested a 50-year-old male resident of Tokyo's Sumida Ward for his allegedly selling a bootleg copy of the 1984 issue 51 of Shueisha's weekly Shonen Jump magazine, the debut issue of Toriyama Akira's Dragon Ball manga. The suspect supposedly stated that after his arrest that he quote-unquote sold the copy with the knowledge that it was genuine. But it's specifically not genuine because apparently all copies were like are supposed to be stapled to like the volume
Right.
or staple bound the magazine. So unfortunately he did get a bootleg copy and he was arrested for it, but it's another day in the life of random manga counterfeits.
Yeah.
Going on to a little bit more people news again. I don't usually do this, but some big stuff happened these past couple weeks. One is obviously the passing of Kevin Conroy, who was pretty much the main voice for anything animated Batman related, right? And he has passed
Animated,
away at the age of
video
66 due to cancer.
games, you name it. He's
Yeah,
Batman.
yeah. Anything that isn't specifically like like live action film
Yeah.
Batman, like he's voiced. Yeah, pretty much. So he's
I'm
been
pretty
a
sure he
huge
even had
force
like
in that
a
sort of sense.
like a
So
cameo, like Easter egg appearance in like Smallville too. So
yeah. So yeah, huge loss for the community again. Everybody mourns his passing, condolences to his family and friends. Some other stuff again. Kusunoki Tomori, who we just talked about, voice of Makima, she is actually planning to step down from the Love Live franchise because she has a genetic health condition. She has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is just like some like joint sort of a genetic disease related to I think joint weakening. So, um, doing even like excessive exercise or like general activities, extended physical activities of any kind, puts a
yeah.
strain on her body. So again, she's stepping down from Love Live, and we're hoping that she is well enough to continue at least a modicum of voice acting activities, including obviously her role as Makima in Chainsaw Man again, which we just described. So unfortunate. But again, hoping she can continue her work in a proper sense. And last but not least, I just wanted to point this out. Rip Kevin Conroy as well. But last but not least, Akasaka Anka, who is the famous author of Kaguya-sama, Love is War manga, announced on Thursday that he intends to stop working on as a manga artist and will now focus solely on writing. Akasaka used the word gensaku, which means original work, but in the context of manga production, denotes the specific task of writing a manga story as opposed to drawing the art. He intends Kaguya-sama Love is War to be the last manga for which he is responsible for the drawing.
It's pretty wild.
I think honestly he's being super smart because
I mean, it is.
we
It's
know
just, it's kind of wild for, I don't know. It's just interesting to see an author be like, yeah, I'm just not gonna draw anymore.
right. Well, no, he's not drawing as like a job, which is big,
Yeah.
right? Obviously, he added that he still plans to draw as a relaxing hobby, but it's like, I think it's I think it's super smart that he's exiting at the top. Like this is his honestly gonna be more or less his peak, unless he you know stores lightning in a bottle somehow, right? So I think this is really smart for him because he's getting out on his peak and he's not dooming himself to be drawing and like managing an entire series with hectic deadlines and just all the stress um until he dies, right? He's not gonna be he's specifically like trying to avoid that life.
Well,
And that's very
I
good for him.
mean, he's a mangaka, so he's still gonna have that. It's just gonna be slightly reduced.
Yeah,
think.
but he's probably gonna be focusing a little bit more again, like obviously he's like the writing and a little bit more of like the story, like the very like general
Yeah,
like
I
sketching
mean,
storyboard.
obviously,
But
having
like
doing both on a single manga is
yeah,
like, it's stressful as fuck, right? Because you have to
yeah.
storyboard
But he
it,
doesn't
you have
have
to
to do
draw it,
everything.
you
I
have to
think
write
that's the
it.
big thing. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, if
Mm.
he's stepping down from drawing, it takes a huge like workload
Yeah. He
off.
doesn't have to ink and do all
Um,
the other stuff. Yeah, yeah.
but it's obviously the life of a mangaka is always going to be stressful.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just the nature of
I
deadlines and such.
I do
But
think that
it is smart, I think. It is
the
interesting though that
yeah.
he's saying that like this is the last time he'll draw professionally, like just saying that he won't draw for anybody else's project, I guess. Which is kind of
Yeah,
interesting to
that's true.
say. But
Obviously, it cuts off like sort of a potential revenue stream for him. But obviously, he's probably one of the very few in the industry that
yeah, if he's
has
more
enough money
focused
now.
on if he I mean, oh yeah, obviously he's living at large, but if he's more focused
Yeah,
and more passionate about creating stories as opposed to just drawing, then I guess it's understandable as well. But it's just interesting to see.
I think he's probably also found his groove, or like at least find enough connections because he's worked a lot with, for instance, Yokoyari Mengo, right, who is a female manga artist and who did her own work and stuff like Kuzuno Honkai or Scum's Wish, and her drawing style I think suits Akasaka Aka's stuff quite a bit.
Yeah.
And since Yokoyari Mengo kind of, when she doesn't write, she kind of ends up kind of just doing smut stuff, right? And Akasaka Aka, might need some drawing experience. I think their work together has been quite good, especially Oshinoko, which has been, top of the charts,
Yeah.
are receiving awards left, right, and center for like at least 3 years now. So I think that's a good combo. I think they're probably going to find another, maybe probably decent artist for him. So I think it's a good career decision moving forward. But we'll see how it pans out. Obviously.
Don't worry, they'll draw once more. They're gonna draw the next
He'll unretire.
VTuber.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, "Hey, you want to draw my VTuber model?" I'll be like, "All right, why not?" It's inevitable.
Anyways,
They have connections there.
anyways, that's pretty much it for the news. And last but not least, we are going straight into our shoutouts and callouts here. And everybody here gets one shout out, one call out each. Shout out is one thing that you want to praise to the heavens, 5 stars out of 5, and it can be any one person, place, or thing. And call outs is exact opposite, something that you want to insult, rant, rave about, and it's a 0 out of stars on Yelp. And again, it can be any one person, place, or thing. And we will start again with Nier. What do you have for us? Shout outs, call outs, please.
I guess I'll just call out Twitter for being fucking dumb as shit. Like, so I like animation as a medium a lot, right? And
yeah.
I've read a lot about animation. I've read a lot of stuff that animators have said about animation, but I'm not really someone that's going to say that like I know what it takes to really animate a scene. Like I really know what goes on, because I don't, right? I'm not an animator. I don't really know like what really truly goes on into like making, something really like good, Like I can look and I can see techniques, I can see, inspirations and, stuff like that. But I'm not an expert or anything. So to see people online just talk about like animation as a medium as if it's some trivial thing that anybody can do, it's annoying. It's frustrating. You know,
Hmm.
I'm sure animators as well are very annoyed by it. But yeah, it's just like, you know, when you're talking about something, like even if you think you're knowledgeable on the subject, like just I guess read what you're like typing out before you hit post. Honestly, like it's just some people just say
Are you
like
telling people to think twice before saying stuff?
yeah,
What are you
yeah.
talking
I think maybe you should think before you open your mouth. Because just some of the shit people say is just like just really ignorant, really dumb. Sometimes people are just completely outright wrong about a lot of stuff, and it's just like it really reminds me of like, you know, back a few months back when the GTA 6 leaks were going off and everybody was clowning on that one dude that said, I work in game dev and I know that graphics come first. And everyone was like, no. In fact, graphics are the last thing that gets worked on a project.
Right.
But yeah, it's just like,
Did that person say what game they worked on?
of course not.
No, because
Exactly.
they definitely didn't work on anything. Like,
They probably haven't been involved in a creative project in their entire lives.
I, as a veteran of 20
I
years in
mean,
creative design, sirs.
even I could call myself a game dev, and that's like, oh, all I've
Yeah.
done is RPG Maker, so
Yeah.
whatever, man. At least I got credentials right now.
graphics come first.
Yeah, everyone knows the first thing you
I
do
mean-
in any video game project is an art style and finished assets, and then you
So-
work on mechanics later.
So the thing is that could, in respects, some cases, technically be correct, but that's not the implementation of said assets.
You don't
Yeah,
s-
no, you don't.
'Cause
Well,
you
you
can
don't.
just you can just
start
you
pay,
don't
with that.
if you
create.
know.
I mean, if you
do
know
you
your,
know,
if you
like,
know what
you know,
style you're going for,
Yeah,
you can
it's
draw
like,
out
for
stuff.
GTA
Shit,
GTA
sure.
6, it's like they know, like they'll know what cities they need, they'll know like what buildings they need, they'll know that they need streets, they'll know, you know, they'll know roughly all that stuff. Then they can like, okay, like what guns are we using, and that's like alongside, you know, the devs doing stuff. But that doesn't mean you're gonna implement it. Like you're just gonna have those assets
Mhm.
sitting there. You're not gonna pay artists and then just not have them do anything.
Yeah,
So you're gonna
but
have
also
them
like
working on that, but you're not gonna
depending,
be
it
putting
depends
that
on the
into
stage.
your
It
like
depends
tech
on the
dev.
stages and the size of your team as well, right? Obviously, Rockstar is a very big team. They have the ability to have, you know, developers creating sort of gameplay mechanics and then artists creating assets at the same time. But if we're talking
Yeah,
about, like,
But
say,
the
for
thing is
example,
like
a
the
smaller
people making
team,
the mechanics aren't gonna be, or exploring like new mechanics. They're not gonna be implementing the assets that the art team is making.
no,
There's no
'cause there's
reason
no
to
point.
do that.
There's no point in doing that.
There's no
'Cause,
reason to fix that
like,
up. Like,
yeah, but yeah, like for a smaller team, for example, right, where like say you have like
oh, for
somebody
an indie
who's
dev especially,
yeah,
you're not
like
doing that first.
if you have like a small team where like you have maybe one artist or something, right? It's like, well, before you even really start making like solid concrete assets for your game, like you got to get the game down. You know what I mean? Or at least
Yeah,
on a
you're
solid
gonna be
footing.
blocking shit
right?
down.
Yeah, like
blocking
you're
shit
gonna
out.
you're gonna have placeholder shit for a while. Like obviously you can have concept art and a general idea of like what you want the game to look like, but in terms of assets, you're gonna have the game. But yeah, it's just, you know, people talking out their ass about shit they don't know about. It's just obviously it's going to be like one of the internet's constants of just people being fucking stupid, but it's like,
Oh, I should also
know.
caveat that with that's also saying that in respect to like models and textures. Because you're not doing shaders. Like that's
No.
not happening.
Yeah, there's
like
no way.
that.
You're not like
That's
finishing
completely
like the
different.
lighting
That's like
and
yeah.
shaders and, you know, texture work and where certain light sources and shit are. Like that shit all comes last. Like that's one of the last things you do.
Yeah, like you're basically
Mhm.
gonna be rocking, like if you've ever seen Creation Engine, like assets like that. That's what's being made. Like
Yeah.
making like fucking just regular ass assets. You're not doing lighting. You're not doing shaders. It's like, you know, people know
But
how
yeah.
dev works. You know.
In terms of shoutouts, I don't fucking know, man. I mean,
Nothing good in this world.
sorta. I guess, fucking, I don't know. I kind of do, and I kind of
Okay,
don't,
well,
just because it's like, Square Enix, lol. But I guess shoutouts to the recent Final Fantasy 14 live letter, saying that we're getting a new deep dungeon. It's cool, I guess. I don't know.
Bro,
That's-
paladin changes incoming.
Yeah, bro. That drop's gonna be shit forever. I'm gonna be real with you. But yeah, not too much to shout out recently. I'm gonna be real with you, Chief.
the world sucks.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, pretty good. Dark.
Oh baby, I am all music oriented
Well,
tonight.
thank you very
I'm
much,
gonna
Nier.
shout out.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna shout out Matt Watson's new album because it's quite good.
Yes, it is quite good.
Give it a listen. See You There by Matt Watson. Very banger, very banger of an album. And then my call out is also going to be to music. It's going to be to Amelie. Fucking fuck you. Yeah.
Hey,
We're doing a full
Amelie is a
180
pretty good
from
singer.
last
It's just
time.
that it's
Nah,
not.
no.
To be fair,
You can eat my ass
Amelie
now.
is a pretty good singer. It's just
I'm
that
not gonna be
she's
fair at all.
not-
I'm not gonna be
she's not-
fair in any way, shape, or form.
The funny thing was,
Bro, like New Genesis,
I
like
forget
dropping
which
it
song.
like that is like a gut punch. Like for those of you that
that
don't know,
auto tune
Amelie
like
did
15 seconds in.
yeah, no, it's like 4 seconds in. Well, it was New Genesis, right? Yeah, it was an Amelie cover of New Genesis
I think so, yeah.
by Otto from the One Piece movie. And in the first like 4 or 5 seconds, she auto-tunes the hell out of the opening so bad that it distorts like
Yeah.
horrifically. Simply because I can only assume that she can't hit the note.
She specifically, yeah, exactly. She specifically used it because she can't hit the note. Like you can tell because she's like trying to move up to that note, trying to hit it, and she can't. So it had to be auto tuned. It was very
Dark.
unfortunate.
You like New Genesis, right? Hold on, let me link you this.
No,
The good thing
fortunately, I
is
can't
most
actually
of the
play any of these things.
The
'cause,
good thing is most
it
of the English
might
community, I think,
capture it on stream, so I can't actually listen to this right now.
All right, well, you can listen to it afterwards.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the good thing is most of the English community reacted in a proper manner where like they weren't like looking down on Otto or anything like that, but they were a little bit disappointed that Amelie couldn't have her English version songs for the English version of One Piece,
And
which
now
was
you know
like
why. In another way.
Well, I got
Jesus.
2 presents
Very
for you.
unfortunate.
You can listen to them afterwards.
I'm gonna hunt the people who like these down. I'm gonna get Elon on the line and have him dox all 14,000 of these people, just so that I could, give them a firm talking to.
Yeah. Anyways.
Because yeah, it's like again, like when I was originally saying it, it's like I don't know. I feel like there's just like a level of like gall behind like having the fucking gall to release that cover. To me, it's like, what are you doing? Like as a musician, how do you hear this song that you should be able to appreciate this singer in like an even deeper manner And then you go, my cover though, since I can't do this, instead of, because like I have nothing wrong with like if you drastically change a cover to suit you, because I think that's a good idea. I think you putting your own spin on it then is a good idea. But if you're gonna be out here like, yeah, my swing is gonna be at this, like, it's gonna be at the same rendition of the song, but I like can't do it. Why would why would you?
To be fair to Amalie, most of her other covers are actually like tuned to her,
Yeah, yeah.
style, so they sound better than
Yeah.
New
My
Genesis
my
did.
question was also just like,
Well,
why
yeah, I
didn't
mean that's
she?
why I gave her like the caveat last week, like last time. I was like, they're like I've heard fine covers from her, but no, I'm mad now, so fuck her.
She tried too hard.
All right.
So now I'm mad.
All right. Well, unfortunate, but yeah. Again, thank you, Dark, for your shout out call out. Toast, what about you?
My call out is also to the same kind of people who said is the same, but less toward Amalie and more toward the people who think that Amalie's version is better than Ado.
I don't think anybody said
Oh,
that
I've
though,
I've
right?
seen them.
There are
like-
definitely people saying that.
All
But
right,
there's
boys,
still
it's
there's
time for
still
eugenics.
still the vocal minority, and I'm like, I don't want to see any of these at all.
I'd like to pretend I live in a world where nobody says that unironically, but
I mean,
it
and
is what
then
it
still
is.
to
Yeah.
echo Dark stuff, she should have definitely tuned it to fit her style, not trying to fit Otto's style. Because
Yeah. I think she should have done a lot of more shifting
I
of
get that she's the voice actor of Uda and wanted to honor it, but 4 seconds in, you hit me with that, it turned me off.
yeah,
And
that was
I've
not good.
seen
That
some
was
people
so
say,
bad.
some people say, "Oh, great singing." I'm like, okay, but have you heard the auto tune 4 seconds in? And they have no response to that. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought. Her singing is fine, but the auto tune is horrendous on that song.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know. I think it would have been. I honestly think it would have been better to just like not hit the note. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like just like not auto tune that and be like, I can't hit that high. It's like, okay, sure.
that's fine.
But like distorting the audio to the point where it's like, it literally sounds
It's
robotic.
obvious.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if she expected people to not notice or what, but it's very jarring.
And
I
I've heard
definitely think it would have been better to just not have that.
I've heard other English covers, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, because they don't auto tune it as much as Emily did. Again, I don't have any problems with her voice acting or any of the other songs, but New Genesis is like probably her worst song that she's done. Just for the
Yeah,
auto tune.
it's not good.
So
Shout out? No, sorry.
I'm gonna shout out Uta. I like that character. My top One Piece female character by far. Stronger than Luffy couldn't lay a finger on her in the movie. She beat him like what 377 times or something, and he'd never won one. Very very good character that I really like added to the One Piece lore. I just wish they could do more with her.
All right.
And bring Otto back for some more songs. I guess that's also an indirect way of shouting out Otto.
Anyways, thank you, Toast, for your shout out call out. I think my shout out call out is going to be a little bit more on the, well, I guess not like political side, but call out to Elon Musk. Not Elon Musk, but I want to say billionaires. Not even Elon Musk. Honestly, I just want to say billionaires in general because there's been more than one billionaire
Hot take.
recently. Yeah, where like if the billionaires want to go off and like go off to some weird like lonely island and just like burn all their money or do something stupid, that's fine with me. But like, why do you guys
No, I
have
want
to
them to do it in the public eye so that people can realize that, meritocracy is fake.
Yeah, it's just like the fact that they have so much money and so much like influence with that money, and they can mess around with stuff, and because they're stupid, it like bad things happen, but everybody else has to take it on the chin because they're doing huge things on the scales of like billions of dollars and just like affecting everybody else. It's just extremely silly, and that should not happen in like any world. So that's my call out. My shout out honestly is to
Okay,
Twitter,
libtard.
because the current yeah, I
Shout out to
apologize
the
for being
mules.
a soy boy. Yeah. My shout out is to Twitter right now, because a lot of funny things are happening on Twitter because of the new like changes, and all these scam artists are coming out and doing really funny things. Like half of them aren't even like really trying to like steal people's money. Like most of them are just doing really funny things with like messing around with the companies and like tanking their like stocks, and like, having
Dude,
Mario
that's so
with a
good. Like,
finger. Yeah.
just
The
like
good thing
some
is like
random person being able to be like, drop
yeah.
$8 and take a swing at fucking Lockheed Martin is like,
Yeah. It's
oh
good.
man.
Yeah, it is very good, and so I honestly like the state of Twitter right now more than it did before, because at least now Twitter is a force for moral good instead of just being shitty all the time. So
I think
Listen,
my
shout out
if it
to
has to
favorite
that.
go into a death spiral, this is the
Yeah,
best way to do it.
I think my
yeah,
favorite
absolutely.
aspect of the current state of Twitter right now is that like
Hmm.
the people that are just like legitimate, like their default state of being is like sucking corporate cock. Like they've like they're not even like they can't even be subtle about it anymore. You know what I mean? Where it's like,
Yeah,
no, don't impersonate the billion-dollar corporation. You'll hurt its feelings. It's like, dude, just just give it a
like don't be
break, man.
retarded. Yeah,
Just like
yeah, exactly.
it's
Could
it's
could
it's just it's so
you?
funny, man.
Yeah, it's like, could you be on the right side of history for once in your life,
Nah,
please?
no.
Yeah,
I need to defend Coca-Cola stealing African people's water. I need
yeah,
to.
exactly.
I need to defend fucking Eli Lilly, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, I think that was it for pretty much all of our shoutouts and callouts. So that's pretty much our podcast. Thank you everybody here for listening in. And again, we are going to do one more episode after this for our fall reviews, and then after that, we're going to go into our winter 2023 previews as well as our end of the year awards show. So hang around for that down the road. And yeah, we'll hopefully try to adjust the winter preview or winter review show, the first winter review on 7th or whenever, just so people can actually watch some series before we get to review stuff. But yeah, if you like what we do, we stream our podcast live every night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over at twitch.tv/4PlayAnimecast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in Japanese animation media, anime, manga, light novels, web novels, visual novels, and so much more. So you can check our podcast recording here, YouTube recording on our YouTube channel for Play Animecast. Again, check us out there. Updates and more information on our social media, Facebook as well as on Twitter. Twitter handle at 4PlayAnimecast, Facebook 4PlayAnimecast. And yeah, so check us out here, check us out there, and as always, we'll see you next time.